Hey everyone, thanks again for joining the Ret-Con-Artists. This week's episode, the Friendly Fantastic Five, will find out a whole lot more about what's going on this ship. They're going to enjoy mimosas, engine room tours, children's stories, a little bit of bullying, and a sack of flour. I hope that means something to you guys, because it means nothing to us. Thanks again for being here. Enjoy episode number 3 of the RMSS Catatonic. Okay, let's do it. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
This whole Nightbot thing is new to me. Where did that come from?
I don't know. It's like someone's like adding commands as we're going or something. It's
No,
really
put that
weird.
table down now.
How strange.
I love it.
That's wonderful. Welcome back to the stream, you guys. Thanks for joining us, the Ret-Con-Artists. I hope you guys had a wonderful week. Recovering from the clusterfuck that was the bottom of the RMSS Catatonic last time. Who wants to give us a recap?
So, from what I recall, we were ushered down into the cargo hold and shown some harpies, which some people had feelings about, others wanted to kill them just because they were in cages or something. I don't remember exactly what everybody's feelings were. And then we went to go and like search a bunch of stuff, and we found some would-be assassins in a crate, and then proceeded to, wait, no, it was Arthur first went in and was like being all nice to him, and then Tim came in and hit him in the face with a cane.
Right.
And that was pretty much it, right? Like
I think so.
We did some other stuff.
So to recap some of the I guess main points that I've kind of hit on in the past, you did get a little bit of information out of this guy. A little bit. It was really confusing as to why he was being all weird and freaked out. He did allude to the fact that he wasn't sure what was real. He wasn't sure exactly what his mission was, but you guys do now know that he was there to take the princess through a lot of back and forth persuasion. And then what else do you guys know? You guys have...
There's more than just them.
You have the impression that there is more than just them. You have a strange package of luggage that you guys found when you came onto the boat that had a very ornate looking axe and what you have determined to be a bomb in it. And then also you guys, well, so far one person, and actually, sorry, two people, Vera and Arthur, you have noticed a very, very strange, confusing feeling coming from a certain area of the ship that has mysteriously disappeared. So that's pretty much everything that's been going on. Also, we had Tim speaking to Mr. Glavius Sakul to go and see if he can find out any kind of information and do some recon on the ship. And you also met Dimitri Cote, who is the head maintenance guy in the bottom of the cargo or the engine hold there. And I think that's pretty much all the fine details, unless I'm missing something.
Bjorn body slammed the guys, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Bjorn double undertook
Like
a big
a
slam.
badass.
Can't wait to get Bjorn's Undertaker wrestling career started.
Double
Perfect.
chokes. Yeah.
I'm gonna make that meme with Vince McMahon where he's like losing his mind more and more each
Oh, yeah.
time, and the last picture is gonna be him looking at Bjorn. All right. So I think where we all left off is you guys tried to interrogate the strange dude. The other dude was held captive by Lieutenant Jesus Tuchable, and they have all since taken those prisoners somewhere, and you all went back to bed for the night, since that was actually technically how the last session was supposed to start. And then we just went down the fucking rabbit hole into the bottom of the ship. So it is the next morning.
Before we continue, I
Yes.
do need to dip out just for a second. I really
Sure.
apologize.
No worries.
Just leave Tarvok in bed.
Okay. Tarvok
Okay,
is sleeping in.
Thanks, guys. I won't be long. I won't be long.
Sure.
I go and cuddle with Tarvok.
Aw, it's cute.
I thought we were shipping both Tim and Vera. Like, come on. I thought you guys were supposed to be the... No, I'm just kidding.
We'll see. I'm the only
More
girl.
makes
You guys
him
gotta fight.
uncomfortable than it is a true ship.
That's true. That's true. All right. So let's start with Arthur. What were you doing this morning after you had your weird night of sleep?
So it's morning now, right? Sorry, I was helping someone make commands. Yeah. that's what I was doing.
Oh, Trixie.
I made a whole bunch of them, by the way.
Oh, God.
Anyway, so Arthur slept in the cargo hold
Mm-hmm.
in his little makeshift wooden little box. So he would have woke up, he stretched out, and he made the box too small, so like his feet, he was all curled up. So when he stretched out, he kicked out one of the walls, and it fell on him. So he just kind of like pushed all the wood off of him, and like kind of stood up, and has a splitting headache, and his back hurts, his knees hurt, and he would have made his way over to wherever there's food. So probably the top deck, I would assume. Maybe they have a buffet set up or something.
Yeah, if you guys look at the map that I have all provided you, I'm going to pull open my version as well. Whoop. There we go. You do have a dining hall on the main level, as well as the outdoor dining on the upper level, so the second level. So, you're going to go and get some food? All right.
Absolutely.
All right, you get to the dining hall and you notice that the breakfast buffets are quite full, chock full. You got random staff back and forth filling up the different trays. It's very similar to the maintenance department buffet, maybe a little more swanky. It's a little less budget since this is quite a nice cruise liner. There are mimosas at everyone's table, and Arthur, as you sit down, a waiter comes up to you, and you can tell he doesn't speak very good common. But he walks up to your table and he says, "Mimosa?"
Arthur just kind of looks up at him, and yeah, he just takes it. Yeah.
And the waiter goes, "Ah, mimosa," and he pours it. And he
The only word this dude knows is mimosa.
he puts the mimosa in front of you, and he goes.
Arthur's-
He points
go
to
ahead.
his name tag and he goes, "Sam."
Yeah, I'll have some. Do you have any oranges or grapes, maybe?
And mimosa, and he pours another one. He puts it in front of you. Orange
And
mimosa.
Arthur points in the mimosa, and he's just like, grapes, oranges, or and he like tries to make the shape of like an orange.
And he goes,
His
"Ah,
hand.
yes, yes." And he walks away for a moment. You're just kind of sitting there wondering what the hell. couple minutes pass, and he comes back, and he puts a coconut in front of you.
I love this guy.
Arthur just
Can we
looks at
keep
him.
him?
Was it carried in by swallows?
Arthur just looks up at him. He just
And he just nods and he goes, Sam!
What?
And he points
He
to
goes,
his name tag
"Sam."
again, and he walks away.
Sam.
Oh,
Arthur
oh.
calls him back.
Yeah, he turns around.
Knife, cut.
Ah, yes. And he reaches into his, like, waiter apron in the cutlery section, and he hands you a spoon.
Perfect. Arthur gives him a
Yes.
thumbs up, and he says, "Hammer."
He reaches into his apron, he pulls out a butter knife and hands it to you.
Even better. Arthur says, he goes, boulder, rock, big rock.
He goes,
Where's
yes.
Bjorn?
He goes over away again to the buffet, and he comes back holding an entire tray of a roasted ham, puts it in front of you.
Arthur's just like staring at this, nodding. And then he goes, he looks at the guy and he goes, peace.
And Sam looks really confused when you do that. And he goes, mimosa?
So Arthur's like positioning all of these like things on the table, and he's just kind of laughing to himself after when he says mimosa. He drinks it real quick and he goes, yes.
Then he fills your cup again. Sam! And he points to his name tag and he walks away again.
And as Sam's walking away, Arthur takes the coconut and he takes the knife and he just hits it as hard as he can to get it to like stick in there a little bit. And then he takes the coconut and he like looks at the ground next to him. And he has the knife down and the coconut up, and he just takes it and just goes and he throws it as hard as he can against the deck just to try and crack it open.
All right, roll me a quick strength check, actually.
Oh my god, yes. Please make it a 1 so that way it bounces up.
I know, right? I rolled a 10.
You rolled a 10.
Yeah.
All right, it buries that butter knife even deeper into the coconut, but when you pick it back up, you actually notice that it's actually almost impossible to pull that butter knife out. And as you finally yank it out, just a tiny trickle of coconut milk starts coming out of the little crack where you split it into.
He drizzles it into his mimosa. And then once it kind of stops coming out, he just throws the coconut over the side of the ship.
Nice.
He just
Perfect.
right off the side, and then he just sits there with some mimosa, and he kind of pushes the ham farther away from himself. He doesn't really eat all that much meat. He figures Bjorn and Tarvok will probably enjoy that when they come up here.
Perfect. You probably just killed a very small goblin somewhere in whatever region you were flying over, so just so you know that, I hope you feel horrible.
They'll be all right. They'll be all right.
100 d6 damage from coconut.
What's falling damage?
Yeah.
Here in the
I have a whole
distance.
bag of-
"Aw."
I got a whole bag of d6s I can roll if you want me to.
Terminal velocity off a coconut. What?
Good.
All right. Tim, what were you doing? You had the whole room to yourself, actually, because you guys are sharing a room as far as I recall. So what were you doing this morning?
Tim would have gone out to find his friend who may or may not have taken a metric ton of money from Tim.
Right, correct. That was a lot of cash. All right. You end up scouring the main deck, and you two reach the dining hall when you eventually see Glavius Sakul sitting at the table. And you see one of his boys, running around inside the dining hall there, just causing havoc. And you can tell all the other, I guess, patrons of this ship didn't expect kids to be on this pleasure cruise. And he's sitting there with his wife, and he's just kind of cutting into some eggs and bacon and just chowing down, And as you approach his table, he says, "Good morning. To who do I owe the pleasure?"
My fault. Forgot I was on push to talk. I said Tim didn't walk over there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So what did you do?
1 second.
Dog noises, probably. This is giving Tarvok all the time in the world.
So I had a bunch of commands as well for
Okay.
all of
I
the
love it.
characters.
They're
If you
so
guys want to
many
send me
commands.
more, Yeah, if you guys have ideas, send them to me on Discord real quick, and I'll keep editing them and add random things you want me
my
to.
goodness, so many commands. Hold on, let me try one. This probably isn't one. Oh.
Yes, okay, okay.
Should
You got me
Tarbox
on
be
that one.
bowless archery?
Tarbox probably should be bowless archery.
Boneless archery, I'll change that.
I want to stab that guy way over there.
So are there any like I mean I'm assuming it's daytime or anything, but is there any
Yeah.
like lights or anything that are near that table, like a candle that might be lit or something?
The whole room itself, the whole dining area, is lit by oil lamps and chandeliers and whatnot. It's actually quite a nicely lit
something
room.
that's around him that would get his attention, like to signal him that somebody's looking.
Like, is there a candle on the table?
Yeah, that's
How
kind of what I was
fancy
getting
are
at.
these tables?
Yeah, I think there would be actually an oil lamp on each table lighting them all up.
Mm.
Oh, actually, I know. So Tim's gonna go. He would go stand in that area that this gentleman and he had spoke before.
Okay.
And Tim will cast Prestidigitation
Mm-hmm.
to create a small humanoid figure on the table that points in that direction, but only for a brief second, so that he sees it and not his family.
Okay. I like that. That's a cantrip for you, I believe, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Beautiful, beautiful.
One
All
of
right.
the best cantrips.
So you create just a tiny little ghost-like figurine right in front of his plate, and it's pointing towards the spot near the railing. His table is actually very close to the same table that he had the night before. So he instantly, as he's cutting his eggs, you see his eyes kind of snap up towards you, and without even a movement in his head, he just keeps eating for a second. And then he just politely puts his fork and knife over top of his plate and across, like he's done his dinner, and then dabs his mouth, just says a quick word to his wife, and then walks over and greets you at the railing. And he says, it's nice to finally see who I'm actually dealing with properly.
It's good to see you again, Mr. Sakul.
Yes. How have you been? Have you fared well?
We've had some interesting events. Tell me, have you discovered anything of value?
I did have the fortune last night to have one of the guards take me on a tour of the entirety of the ship. It was quite interesting. It was basically immediately after you and I left. And I learned a couple of things. I have met the maintenance man. He seems to share a common interest as you and I. He's a good guy, from what I can tell. He told me about something interesting, and that's that the engine has been having a little bit of fueling issues now and again, but it seems to be sputtering in and out, and he can't really, I suppose, figure out the issue, if that makes sense. This tour of mine, my wife and my son, we really enjoyed it, especially going into the guards' quarters, where we noticed that they have holding cells, but they seem to just be collecting dust. Also, I've had this strange sorrow ever since we went on the tour. I don't know why, but I feel something bad either happened or is about to happen.
Have you learned anything else that doesn't go off hunches or based on fact?
I consulted with my son and my wife, and they also have the same feeling. However, we just can't seem to place it.
Would you say this feeling is something that happened after boarding the ship, or is it something that you felt while in line, or did it change between?
I don't recall it up until after the tour, to be honest, particularly when we were in the lower holds.
Around what areas did you guys walk in that lower hold?
Well, they showed us the cargo. They didn't tell us what was in the cargo. That might be something worth checking if I were you. I do need to ask, why is it that you need this information? I normally respect the confidentiality of our work. However, I feel like if something bad is going to happen, I need to prepare my family, my wife and son. We're up in the middle of the sky.
Stay alert.
As always. And listen, if there's anyone to talk to, maybe that strange cat man might be able to shed some light on things, because he seems to be really focused down there.
I've had a brief encounter with him, but I'll make it a priority to see him. Now, have you discovered anything else? That was a lot of gold.
Yes, that was a lot of gold. I have found that at times at night it's not too difficult to get past the buffoons and into the royal chambers. I have not taken any liberties in there. I just merely decided to test their security.
Interesting. Good information.
Yes.
As I said, Mr. Sakul, stay alert, stay with your family, and let me know if you see anything else.
I will keep my wife and son at my side at all times.
And at that, Tim will just casually walk away. And can Tim see Arthur from anywhere?
Yeah, I think you could spot him
Smack
pretty
his
easily.
coconuts on the floor.
Yeah, you
Clank,
see
clank.
his blue glowing crown over the top of the heads eating breakfast.
So Tim will just saunter on over.
Cool. All right. Vera, what have you been up to this morning?
Let's see. Probably just had a pretty regular night's sleep, which is maybe a little uncommon for Vera. Like there was
The bookworm.
there was nothing to read, and we seemed to have dispatched assassins that we were looking for. So she just like put all the slimes in her bed like pillows and just laid down and went to sleep after everything, and woke up at a reasonable time, I guess. She's going to she's going to spend the I think it's like roughly an hour and a half for spell preparation.
Okay.
And that jazz. So she might be a little bit later.
Sure. Okay.
To brunch or whatever we're having.
Yeah. I'll say this much. After you guys had your little encounter the day before, you've noticed something different about Base. Base doesn't seem quite as much as you can tell standoffish as slimes have been. It seems to have taken a little more interest in you. So
that's good.
I'll leave you with that a little bit. So while you're just kind of preparing your spells and hunkering for a bit, we'll switch over to see what Bjorn was doing, and then we can bring you in afterwards if that sounds okay.
Yeah.
All right, Bjorn, what'd you do this morning?
So, Bjorn was basically outside the princess's door.
Yep.
Because he did not trust the guards.
Mm-hmm.
Did anything happen during the night when...
All right, so this is going to be a little bit of a rewind into the middle of the night, I suppose. So you were sitting there for a couple of hours until it was time for Spud to switch out with his relief and go sleep himself. His relief,
which I am eyeing very suspiciously.
His relief, a very average-sized looking elven man with silver hair, purple eyes. He looks like your typical elf. He comes up the stairs after Spud is walking down, and he sees you sitting there on the stairs just kind of leaning back against the door, and he's just like, Hey?
Hello.
Are you lost, my dude, or what's going on? You okay?
I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
And why is that?
Why is what?
Why is it that you are exactly where you're supposed to be? I mean, this is kind of my post, you know?
Then you are where you're supposed to be.
Okay. And you can tell this guy must have just woke up for his shift too, because he's still kind of tucking his jerkin in under his trousers, and kind of sits on his little stool at the top there. He's just watching you by the door for a bit. A few minutes pass and goes, "So, you enjoying the cruise?"
I do not like being in the air.
Yeah, it's a little weird, isn't it? We're not really supposed to fly as far as I'm concerned, but here we are, right?
Yes.
Cool. All right, I'm going to just go ahead and read for a bit if you're okay with that.
If you
Pull
read
the little-
anything interesting, I don't mind listening. Bjorn trying to be friendly.
Okay, you know what? Roll me just a standard charisma check on that, actually.
He rolled a 1.
As the guy's pulling his book out of his pocket and you say that, he just kind of goes, "Maybe I should just, pay attention to my duties."
It's like he thinks that Bjorn's reprimanding him.
Yeah. After a few minutes pass, a few more
Tell
minutes.
me if you read anything interesting.
He looks at your clipboard after a few minutes and then just kind of leans down and goes, "Are you one of those integrity checker people or something?
You're mumbling. Say that again.
Are you an integrity check person? I swear I don't always read."
Reading is good for you, but you should be standing watch for the princess. You never know when there are terrorists.
He looks at your clipboard again as you say that and just snaps to attention. Stands up. He goes, "Okay, yes, please don't tell my boss, I'm sorry."
You are doing a great job.
All right. So basically, you sit there trying to be awkwardly friendly to this guy throughout the night. I think at some point you probably get a little tired, so roll a constitution check to see how long you last out for the night.
Well, let's see. What's my constitution? Zap. I got 21. 18 plus 3.
Okay. You last quite a while, actually. You finally zonk out at maybe 5, 6 in the morning. Sleep for a couple of hours just against the door, and then when you wake up, you see the guy still standing there awkwardly. And when he sees your eyes open, he kind of snaps to attention again.
So nothing else happened. Bjorn is upset.
All's
Gets up.
quiet on the royal front.
It's like, wait, let me try it again. Can you check up on the princess?
He clicks his heels. He says, "Right away, sir." Goes in through the door. Well, before going in through the door, he pulls out his keys and he unlocks 2 of the locks on the door, and then he goes in and kind of does a little knock and looks back, closes it behind him.
I look intimidating with my clipboard just in between. I'm cross my arms and my clipboard's right here. I'm official.
About 30 seconds pass as this guy's kind of peeking into the royal chambers, and then comes back out and he says, Everything seems good, sir. Was I looking for anything in particular?"
Just making sure the princess is where she is supposed to be.
"Yes, sir. They were having breakfast and they yelled at me, so I hope I'm not in trouble. Please don't mark that down."
You were only doing your job, which you are doing a great job.
Okay, thank
Do
you.
you need any food? I'm going to the buffet table.
That would be really nice, sir.
Okay. Bjorn's gonna
Alright.
go to the food to try and find everyone.
Perfect. I think at this time is probably roughly when Tarvok is finally rousing himself from his slumber. It's morning time. Vera's just about done preparing her spells. We've got Arthur and Tim sitting down in the dining hall, and we've got Bjorn basically heading that way, almost there. What was Tarvok up to this morning?
Just keeping to himself for once. The takeoff was a little bit more rocky, and yesterday's events were a little hard on Tarvok. And he's not overly comfortable wearing a suit. I mean, he endured it for a night, but he wants to be more comfortable. So he goes ahead and after a full night's rest, he changes back into his adventuring. Now, he doesn't take everything. He doesn't want to seem too intimidating as he's walking around the ship, but he does have his bow and his arrows.
Okay.
Aside from that, Tarvok, awkwardly out of character, just kind of sits and meditates for a few moments, kind of reflecting back on the crazy time he's had over the last few weeks, and prepares for another day. He gets up. I mean, most of the people in the cabins around him are running about or going to get food, so he simply makes his way down to the buffet.
Okay. All right, you get to the buffet, the dining hall. You pile your plate high with some delicious sausage and bacon and sausage. And you're getting in there right about, I think, the same time as Bjorn and Vera are finally coming down, and you guys all kind of convene at the table together.
I guess I wave a sausage. Hi.
I have my clipboard and I'm walking. I stood watch over the princess all night, and it seems that nothing bad has happened. Please excuse me, I must bring food to the guards.
Have you ever
So
had a
I'm gonna
mimosa?
go- A what?
A mimosa. Have you ever had one?
And right at that moment, you see Sam come shuffling up, and he goes, "Mimosa!" And he has his bottle in his hand and some extra glasses, and he puts them down on the table, and he goes, "Mimosa!" And he pours a few glasses and shoves them all your way, and he goes, "Sam!"
Arthur's had like 9 of them.
Oh god.
Like, you guys sit down, there's all these glasses just like in front of him. He's just like holding them like.
Bjorn
That's a
like gets the
lot of
cup and
mimosas.
sniffs it and goes, "Is this alcohol?"
And
No,
Sam
it's
just
a mimosa.
Puts
Sam
it
just
down.
nods and, "Yeah, mimosa, yes."
Mimosa.
Oh my god. Bjorn's gonna go to the buffet table, not say anything. Well, actually, he'll take a drink,
Mm-hmm.
nod at Sam. "You're doing a great job." Puts it down. And
Sam!
then he's going to the buffet table to get the elf food, and then he'll come back.
We have a whole
What's
ham.
you-
There's like a
Aren't
whole ham.
elves
sitting on the table still.
vegetarians? He's gonna get him like a salad or something.
All right.
He's gonna get
Aren't
all of the
elves-
fruit and all
all
of the
elves.
vegetables in like a big bowl because he doesn't know what the guard wants.
Okay, perfect.
So if he gets everything, then he can't be sad.
All right.
Walks
Before,
up to the-
before Bjorn leaves, Tim will relay what he learned from Mr. Sakul to the group.
All right. And
Mm.
considering Tarvok, out of character, also was not present for that, if you wouldn't mind recapping a little bit.
In Tim's words.
In Tim's words.
So, as you may have or may not have known, I was gone for a while. My pockets are lighter, and that makes me sad. But it was worth it. We learned some things. I made a friend of friends, who did some digging around. He learned that the security around the royalty is not the best.
Bjorn is
It's not-
going to be so mad, but he's not going to say anything. He's just going to visibly bristle like, I told him.
Clipboard snaps.
He told me that he didn't try it, but he said that if one wanted to sneak in, they might very well easily be able to do so, which I intend on testing myself. On top of that, they were given a tour of the ship, And down on the lower deck, him and his family both discovered, or all rather, that it changed the way they felt. They felt very sad.
They felt sad.
A difference in emotion, something that was out of their control, something that was forced on them.
Yes, I had something like that when we were down in the hold.
I
And
think they need mimosas. Arthur,
lastly,
Arthur falls back into his chair, like, just...
And lastly, the mechanic had made his concerns about the engine having its sporadic issues, but he seems to be the next person we should go talk to. Perhaps not in a situation where there's others.
So, I am going to go protect the princess. I'm going to go talk to the captain and tell him to put me on the guard with the princess, because at least I know that I can protect her. And with that, he leaves.
All right.
Arthur nods in approval. Yes, you can.
So,
All right.
on top of everything that we encountered down in the hold, then, what are they? Runic magic, right? That can change emotion. I mean, I've only seen it once or twice, mind you, but I didn't notice anything when we were downstairs.
Well, I have the ability to change people's emotions myself.
I couldn't sense anything when we were down there. Whatever it was, it might not have been magical. Alchemical, maybe?
Well,
not
we could
sure.
sit here and guess, but think we need more answers. Arthur slams down his empty mimosa glass.
Just
Yeah,
shatters.
It breaks. He's just, oh.
Arthur slams down the glass, and Tim's gone.
Wow.
Is that like
Tim, take some ham with you.
Is that like a fear response for Tim? Like in Spider-Verse, he just goes invisible.
Just disappears.
Pretty good.
Tim is just really on edge right now because he stole stuff from people and got like a bunch of gold. So he used to slam. He's like, fuck!
All right. So we're gonna quickly deal with Bjorn taking the food to Mr. Guard. You get back to the set of stairs that lead up to the promenade of the royal quarters there, and when you get to the top, you see him just kind of wavering ever so slightly. It seems like he might be almost at shift change himself again, and he sees you coming, and he just kind of straightens up again a little bit.
I get this big bowl of just random fruits and veggies, and like it'll have other bowls of like salads, like all of the salads that you could have got. There's like everything vegetable related because he knows that elves are not meat eaters for the most part.
Okay.
And so he just puts it on his lap and he says, I did not know what you wanted, so I got you all of it.
Well, he was standing, so did you like force him to sit?
Yes, because he's okay, yeah. If he's wavering, Bjorn like puts his hand on his shoulder and just
shoves him down on the stool.
and puts food in front of him and says, eat.
And this guy, he looks down and he goes, so nice of you. They feed us slop for breakfast. This is so nice. And he just like puts his arms around your thigh. just hugs your thigh for a second and then
I give him like a nice pat. Okay.
And he goes, so did I pass then?
Yes. In fact, I'm going to speak to the captain right now about how much of a good job you're doing. May I please get your full name?
Ah.
I'm gonna pull out a pen and scrawl it on my paper.
You know what? I'm gonna leave this one up to you. You actually notice that he's wearing a name tag. What does it say?
I'm gonna squint at it. Paul?
Or he goes, it's Paul. Thanks.
Immortalized,
Paul, your
just
first
like
name was
that.
the first name I saw, so I chose you.
I love it. He goes, thank you so much. I'm gonna shift change, so I'm gonna go eat this now. And just as he says that, Spud comes back up the stairs and he goes, good morning, Paul.
Fantastic.
And he sits down in the chair, and Paul just kind of like slowly saunters down back into the guard quarters. All right.
I'm gonna be trying to locate the captain.
Perfect. All right, the rest of you back at the table at the buffet. So you've all relayed information. Tim went invisible. You guys, I think, need to come up with a plan of sorts.
It's everyone else's plan because Bjorn's already doing
Well,
his.
it's just me. It's me, Arthur, and Tarvok at the table,
Well,
supposedly.
Tim disappeared. I don't know where Tim went yet. Where did you go? As he puts, I timed that perfectly. As he puts food in his mouth. No
Well,
worries.
Fear will just assume Tim has left
Okay.
and just talk to the other two. So if there's something wrong with the engine, then it's not magical. At least that's what I remember hearing, and I didn't detect anything when I was walking around yesterday. So maybe they already did something to sabotage the ship, and I don't know how
I
we
have an
would
idea.
fix it.
I have an idea. Arthur
I
puts down
imagine
his
him
last
like-
mimosa.
I haven't-
Yeah.
His
Call it a good
20th
idea.
mimosa.
That's like me on
He puts
Saturday.
like his finger like right. He puts like his finger like right by. It doesn't touch you, but right in front of your mouth, like shh. He's like, I have an idea. The man down below said I can have a tour of the things. I think we should do that and look for sabotage. And Arthur just kind of, his head like goes forward. He just kind of like leans forward and just like holds his forehead.
I love that
Yes.
Arthur's so nice that he just got all the mimosas that Sam gave him. Just drank them all.
They're delicious.
Um,
And then he's like, we should bring him with us, Sam.
Sam comes snapping out of nowhere. He comes flying out of the crowd of people in this buffet,
Does
and
he have tray of mimosas with him?
he's got extra cups, and he's got like this massive jug of mimosa with him. And he
Okay.
goes, "Sam!" And he points to his name tag again,
You're gonna come with us. We're gonna go on a tour.
and he just goes, "Mimosa!" And he starts filling all the
Yes!
glasses in his
Arthur
hand.
grabs one, and he like grabs two, and he hands one to Vera, and grabs another one. Whatever Vera takes, he sits in front of her. Then like,
Yeah.
come on, let's go, Sam. Come on. And Arthur kind of stands up and ushers Sam along with him.
All right. He doesn't resist. He's just like grabbing extra cups off the tables as you guys go by, and just like holding them as he just follows you. He's thinking it's like party time or something.
Tarvok, Vera, you gonna come, or you
Yeah.
have your
Yeah.
own plan?
Vera like turns to Tarvok and is like, I don't know what to do, but can help.
You said the engines are broke, right? The engines.
So I think if we go with Arthur, we have a pretty decent chance of finding somebody who might know something about the engine room.
Yes,
Shouldn't we be a little more discreet?
it's a party.
I think
Arthur like
in-
looks around at all the people, and he's got mimosas in his hands. And
I honestly think that Arthur's kind of got the right idea here. If we blend into the crowd, I mean, it might work in our favor.
Because that's totally what Arthur planned.
Right? Yeah.
Sam, let's go. And Arthur turns and like goes to like leave to head back down to
Yeah,
where I
yeah,
forgot the name
let's
of the guy
go.
though. I really did forget his name.
Dimitri
from,
Dimitri Cote.
Dimitri. That's it. Yeah, he's gonna go try to find Dimitri, so we can get a cool party tour of all of the engines and special areas we wouldn't be able to wander in without him, kind of thing.
Okay. All right.
So I think maybe we should follow him just maybe to keep Sam safe. I mean, he.
Poor
I
Sam.
don't think he knows any other words besides his name and mimosa. So
I think you might be right.
I'm gonna try one because I mean they're all on the table here. I mean he filled them back up,
Okay.
but then we'll go follow him.
Yeah. Beer will take one with her.
You guys take a little sip of these mimosas as you're walking, and it is the most delicious fucking fruity vodka-y drink you have ever tasted.
It's got fruit and vodka.
And now you know why Arthur's drinking them so quickly.
Right?
I feel like Arthur doesn't know there's alcohol in them yet. He's still just like, yeah, they're delicious.
Mimosas are dangerous.
Suddenly, happiness.
Yeah, Arthur's just really happy all of a sudden.
That's really funny.
All right.
But we follow Arthur then.
Okay, so Arthur leads you guys towards the guard shack, through the guard shack, as they all just kind of like spin around in their stools and look at you like, what the fuck? And you guys go down the stairs, down into the lower holds. At this point, we're going to see what the hell a Melondrock Tim is, and what the hell is he up to.
Where in the world is Melondrock Tim?
Where in the world?
Tim went to do what he said he was going to do. When Bjorn went to go back and discuss his conversations with the guards, Tim's trying.
You trying to get in?
Can
All right.
would Bjorn, since he's trying to make sure that the princess is safe, would he be on guard enough to maybe notice something of Tim?
Well,
That depends. Was Bjorn really, really trying to satisfy that guard?
Not really. Just got him food.
And the
it
guard's
also
actually, the guard is
depends- it
switched
also
out now.
depends- Yeah, and they switched out. And it also depends on like when Tim decided to do it. Did he wait until Bjorn left because he knows Bjorn?
The second he vanished, he was going for that door.
Okay, yeah, then Bjorn wouldn't be around. Go ahead then.
Because you actually
just
said that
making
you were
sure.
going to go find the captain to try and get placed in the royal
Yeah,
quarters,
because
right?
Bjorn waited until Spud came in, and then he's like, "I'm gonna go find the captain."
Right.
And then he's gonna go tell about Paul and tell him to put him on the guard.
All right, so we'll cut to Tim really quick here. Tim, so if you're looking at your map, and I'm going to pull this open for those who are watching live right now, stand by. I'm just going to switch to the right picture. Boop, there we go. So for those of you who are watching this live, we do have a map, and it is in the Discord for those of you who are listening to the podcast, and we'll be as descriptive as possible. You'll notice that the royal passenger area has the two doorways at the top of the stairs that lead into the royal, I guess, promenade, if you will. And then if you go through the ballroom on the mid deck, there's also a set of double doors that they have access to directly into the ballroom. So, Tim.
Tim would have surveyed the doors and gone for the weakest spot, because a guard is only as strong as their weakest individual.
Okay.
Not necessarily weak in terms of strength, but weak in terms of how ready they are.
Okay. So you kind of survey the ballroom from outside. It's locked. I say you kind of do a little bit of recon before you really try and get in there. Looking into the ballroom, you do notice that there are other two guards inside at the double doors in the ballroom as well, and then another two at the royal doors inside the ballroom. So there's 4 guards that are stationed inside the ballroom. They're out of sight for the most part until the ballroom is in use, thankfully. But there's 4 in there. And then as you go back down to the main deck, you notice that it's just Spud and Luther at the top of the stairs from the other direction. So, I mean, I don't think we need an insight check for you to realize that 4 versus 2 or 4 versus 1 in that regard. The Spud and Luther route is probably your best bet to try and get in.
Yeah, that's what I assumed.
Mm-hmm. So, how do you want to do that?
So while Tim is invisible on his way through the ballroom toward Spud and his companion, he's going to snag a couple glasses off some tables that are just unattended, and he's hiding them under his coat.
Okay.
And as he gets next to them, like not necessarily right on them, kind of maybe 5-6 feet off to the side,
Mm-hmm.
he's going to huck these glasses to the other side of the room as hard as
So,
like at an upward angle, so it's going to like over line of sight,
Like a distraction?
basically.
so you're not technically in a room. That's what I guess my maybe my description had failed. You're basically in the hallways of the main deck that are, for the most part, open air that go out to the edge of the boat, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So where Spud and Luther are, if you look at the map, is I'm gonna zoom in for the people who are watching live. They are at the top of each end of these stairways here, and those are open to that hallway. Once you get to the top, there's a small landing and a door.
So
Does that make
basically down the stairs around the hall,
Okay.
if that's what I'm gathering.
Okay.
Not necessarily that he's throwing them in a curve, but given
Right.
what I now realize, he would have stood down toward the bottom and threw them down the hall.
Perfect. Okay.
Oh.
That makes sense to me. All right. So you end up tossing your empty mimosa glasses that you found on the carts in the hallway as you came down here.
It wasn't
And-
like 1 or 2. He took like maybe 3 or 4 and just starts.
Okay, just hucking them, making a ruckus. All right. So just a bunch of splintering glass starts going off down the hallway, just psh, psh, psh. And you see Spud and Luther kind of look at each other with these weird looks, and they don't hear voices, but they hear the smashing glass, and they just kind of go, huh? Huh? And they kind of point back and forth at each other, and then all of a sudden, you see Luther on the bottom side on the map there, the bottom set of stairs, we'll say, port side. He just kind of finally gives a little shrug to his brother, and then he slowly walks down the stairs and kind of goes around the corner about 5-10 feet and just peeks down the hallway.
So did he pass him, or is he?
He is past him.
like-
Yes, he's now in the hallway between the two suites at the very end towards the guard unit, and he's just looking down the hallway at all this smashed glass that you threw down there. He's just kind of scratching his head for a split second.
So as he passed him, Tim's gonna just walk right on by and
All right,
try and sneak past the other one, who I'm assuming is the lesser intelligent based on personalities that I've seen.
roll me a stealth check with advantage since you're invincible. Invisible? Wow, invincible would be nice
Invincible?
too.
I'm on it. I'm trying to fight.
I'm killing everything. Not that you would probably need the advantage on this.
Well, that's a 19 plus 5.
That is more than sufficient. You hop skip up those stairs without even making a noise. And you are now at this small landing. There's a small stool to your left and a very thick door with 2 locks in front of you.
Is the other guard like right there, or is he slightly ahead? Like
He's he's a little bit leaned down, looking down the stairs, seeing where his brother went. But right now he's not looking directly at you, but he's looking down the stairs and then kind of towards the corner before it goes down the hallway.
So upon noticing this, Tim's going to try and take his.
Take who's the one on the other stairs?
No, the guy who's right in front. I mean, are there any keys that he can see on him?
So you're gonna wait until the guy comes back up to his station? Is that what you're saying?
No, the guard that's currently there.
You're not with the guard right now. You are on the opposite
so they're
set
further
of
from
stairs.
the door then. Gotcha.
No, there's 2 doors.
Well-
So again, if you're looking at the map, They're separated by about 5, 10, 15, 20, 40 feet. So there's 2 stairways that lead up from the hallway. You went up the one that you just distracted the guy from, correct? So there's no guard there. There's one on the other side across the way.
Yeah, Tim's just gonna use his tools and try to get in.
Okay. Roll me sleight of hand 2 times, please.
First one's an 11 plus 8.
Okay. You hear a click as the lock springs open.
Second one is a 19 plus 8.
And that one, you don't even hear it click. It just opens, and the door, you can tell the handle is now looser as you test it.
Tim's gonna slowly open the door, creep his way in, and shut it behind him.
Okay, roll me one more stealth check. You notice, as you're about to do this, you notice that Luther comes back from the hallway, and he kind of looks up at his brother, and he's doing the glass everywhere. And roll me another stealth with advantage, please.
17 plus 5.
That is more than enough. They seem to be locked eyes with each other, talking about what happened down the hallway, as you just deftly swing the door open a little bit and pop inside. You are now standing within, it's almost like a sunroom from what you can see. And the door behind you is literally just like a pillar that goes back towards the other door on the other side, if that makes any sense. So there's a bit of a divider wall where the doors are on each end, and to your right you can kind of just see a bunch of nice open air windows and a balcony outside. You see what looks to be a small girl figure outside on the balcony standing with an elderly man, and they're just kind of peeking over the balcony as the as the turbulence is kind of like rocking them up and down.
The airwaves.
Yeah, basically. And they're just kind of enjoying the ride as you guys are scooting along through the clouds. You turn to your left and you see a very large open suite with a total of 3 beds, a very large 4-poster bed, the size of at least a king, and then a couple of smaller ones for, it seems, maybe her guests that are with her, as well as a very ornate table in the center with food piled high everywhere, and just a few random children's toys and books and just general leisure items, suitcases, clothing. Yeah. So yeah.
Tim is going to, I mean, he still can't be seen, so he's going to take a walk out and see if he can identify the people that are out on the balcony enjoying.
Okay. From what you can tell, it looks like the young girl, Catalina Sevensil. And she's standing there with one of the family members that you had seen on the stage in the previous night's affairs. And she seems to be enjoying her time with him. He's an elderly man, like I said, a human man. And did we make her human? I'm pretty sure we made her human.
Yeah, I think they're all human.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are. And he's very nicely dressed. He seems to be in a very expensive looking pajama set for the most part. And she's kind of in like a little kid's nightie, I guess, and they're just enjoying the sunshine and the fresh wind out there. You don't recognize him as anybody you've seen in Baldur's Gate, but he does actually bear a slight resemblance to her, so you can assume that they're family.
So now that Tim knows that he's identified the princess, he's going to remain in there for a little.
Okay. You also notice,
Kind of like hidden in a corner.
right, and you also
Well,
notice on the
more hidden.
corners outside of this sun area on the balcony that they're on, there are those 2 ladders that lead down into what you assume is the guard quarters below, the escape ladders. Okay. All right.
Fair enough.
So, Bjorn, while this is all happening, you are looking for the captain. We'll try and get you guys all together again at some point here. So you go up to the top deck, and you end up finding the captain inside the brig. He's not in his quarters. He's wide awake in the brig with one of his navigators. And they're just, as you walk in, just sitting there discussing charts and navigation and plotting their course, really. And as you walk in, they don't even notice you. They're so deep in looking at the map and just mapping things out.
my 2 pieces of a clipboard. I'm like, been trying. Oh wait, I have mending. I've mended my keyboard, my clipboard.
Okay.
So I have a full keyboard.
Clipboard.
Clipboard. Goodness gracious. Clipboard. And I'm gonna say, Captain, I have a question to ask you, if you don't mind.
When you say Captain, he kind of starts for a second and he goes, "Oh Lord, yes. Good morning. What can I do for you?"
May I ask you privately?
He looks at his navigator and he just kind of does one of these. The navigator shrugs, walks past you out the room.
I wait. I look.
Don't worry, he's probably gone to the bar to get a drink or something.
What have you done with the prisoners we found last night?
That I have left up to my lieutenant. I don't really dabble too much in the security side of things, but I suppose they probably have them in the holding cells.
Yoren writes down, go to holding cell. Tell Tim to intimidate them some more.
Okay.
Then he goes, okay. Does that mean that I would need to talk to the lieutenant in order to get onto the security detail for the princess?
If you can find him, he's a very mobile person, but yes, that would probably be your best bet. You... to the princess, though. You might want to be careful with that, like I mentioned. They like their privacy.
I don't wish to intrude, but if privacy is what they want, then death is going to get them.
And he just kind of like... that kind of shocks him a little bit. He goes, "That's a little harsh, I would say. I think that
Jordan
you..."
is taking this so seriously. Like, this is a princess, and he's just like,
Yeah.
and it's a child, so he's like, I must protect this small child.
And the captain, Captain Exo, he says, I do appreciate your interest in the matter, but it seems that we might have already destroyed the problem. Am I correct?
No.
Okay.
The moment you put your guard down and have you, you will think that I am foolish now, but when I stop her death, you won't think I'm foolish then. And then he leaves to go find the lieutenant.
You literally, like, all you hear as you're leaving and the door is shutting is just, Alright, we're gonna swing on back to Tarvok, Vera, and Arthur, and Sam! Mimosa, Sam! You guys, you make it down to the cargo holds,
Drinking mimosas.
and you head over to the back end where the engine room is. And you see 3 maintenance guys, all just kind of scurrying around, making sure things are running smoothly, checking various gauges, pulling levers, if you will, and just kind of making sure the engines are turning smoothly and hitting things every once in a while, making sure they don't clunk too much. And you see Dimitri there standing at his toolkit, and he's just like poring over what seems to be a diagram of the mechanics of the ship. All right.
Sam, mimosa.
And you see Sam just kind of look at you and go, "Huh, yes, Sam." And he runs up to Dimitri and he goes, "Mimosa?" And he goes to pour it, and he's leaning over the map of everything. And Dimitri says, whoa, woman, what are you doing?" And he kind of holds him back a little bit from spilling all over his plans. And he goes, "Mimosa?" And Dimitri just kind of like slaps his face and goes, "Sam, no, thank you. I do love my vodka, but not this early, please. I'm okay. Thank you though." And he just kind of like pats him on the head and sends him on his way. And Sam goes, "Okay, mimosa." And he goes back to Arthur's side. And Dimitri, by this time, he turns around and he sees you as you're greeting him, and he says, "Ah, yes, Arthur, right? Yes. Good morning, my friend. I see
We're
you.
here for the tour.
Oh, I. Are
You
you?
said any time. Don't sound like
I did
you're
say
busy.
any time. You're right.
I
I
have to take
know.
a drink.
You're right. It's okay. Are you drunk?
No, I was drinking mimosas. They're delicious.
Vera behind him is like,
Yes, enjoy your mimosas. Yes, of course you're not drunk. Yeah, sure. Who are these other fine folks? I know Sam. Trust me, he gives me mimosas.
Yeah, Sam.
he's the
Sam is a
mimosa.
wonderful. And this is my friend Vera and my friend Tarvok. We're in my other friend Tim might be here. And Arthur just kind of like spins around and like in like a gap, and he might be. I don't really know.
Well, so we're hoping we do actually want that tour.
Yes.
What are you looking at there? And Arthur like interrupts Vera and like walks up to the table to look at the paper.
And as you're kind of like shoving under his arm to get to the plans, he's like, "Yes, it's a pleasure to meet you all. Tarvok, yes? Or is it Tarkov? Tarvok? What?
It's Tarvok.
Ah, you sound
Yeah.
like there's a province in my home region. Yes." And he turns to Vera and he says, "Yes, Vera, you are like Viper. Yes, nice to meet you." And with like a purr, he takes your hand and gives it a slight shake.
Like the least
Yes.
person ever.
She doesn't get much attention. She's just like,
Someone put out the wet floor signs. No, never mind. Anyways.
oh
my
God.
goodness, we'll leave that one alone. And so Dimitri turns to Arthur again. He goes, "My friend, please don't smudge too much. Yes, this is this is the engine plans. As you see, this is the engine room, and you guys kind of first take in what's all around you. On either side of you are two massive, what appear to be fuel tanks with hoses coming out the top of them and then like tightly down the sides of each tank. There's one on the port and starboard side. They look to be like, I don't even, like about the size of what you would see on a tanker truck. They're huge. The hose that you see on the aft side of these tanks seems to be running directly into the engines. And there are two massive engines whirring away, and they're open. Like, they are not encased by anything. It seems that they constantly need to be working on these engines. And you see the massive belt drives turning and spinning what you can only assume is the propellers down below. And Dimitri goes on to say, "So as you see, this is engine room. I'm currently working quite heavily with they gave me limited staff. I'm supposed to have 5, but I don't know why they only have 3 right now, but there's only 3 working with me, and we're having some trouble keeping up. And the one fuel tank, tank number 2, and he points to the port side tank. He says, it's not giving me the right output, but I won't trouble you with this. Tank number 1 is more than enough. We have plenty fuel. It's only for emergencies if we need to ascend quite quickly." And we basically pump fuel through engines, and the exhaust goes up and fills the balloons, and it gets converted between the helium and the methane. Sorry, the hydrogen and the methane. I deal with chemistry and alchemy quite frequently, and I confuse things. But yes, hydrogen and methane are up there, and it all gets converted as it goes through the system, back and forth. It's a beautiful process that I learned to perfect through a friend of mine who is a very famous alchemist in a city nearby of Erebor. He goes by the name of simply Z, and he taught me this wonderful alchemical process in order to properly keep this beautiful, beautiful ship afloat. So,
Arthur
any
just yells
questions?
out, "Meeting!" and he turns around and looks at Vera and Tarvok, and he's like, "Come here, come here." Like he wants you guys to like lean in real close to him, and he says, "There might be." He takes a sip. He goes, "I think there's alcohol in these, but I think it might be weird that they're missing workers while we're flying. That might be a clue." And he just kind of like stares at you guys like almost like you guys should probably explore.
Yeah.
Just like
Lot
just
of it.
slightly looking past everyone.
Yeah, he's just kind of like, you know.
So just put my hand on his shoulder and go, maybe you should not. Maybe slow down now on the mimosas. Just a
Sam,
wee bit.
Sam
Water.
pokes his head through the meeting and he goes, "Mimosa meeting?" He pours it.
He knows a third word.
He knows meeting.
And he tries to hand Tarvok one. As Tarvok says mimosa, he goes, "Mimosa meeting," and he shoves it up towards Tarvok's face.
All right, this is
Arthur
going
just
to be
kinda
my
takes
last.
it. He
Well,
Yeah.
He keeps it there then.
I was going to drink it. You know, you're not the only one who likes the taste of the mimosas.
"Mimosa," says Sam.
So Arthur kind of like pulls Sam over to the side a little bit to kind of keep him distracted,
Okay.
letting Vera and Tarvok kind of like, you know, talk to Dimitri. And Arthur's just kind of like, he's just gonna kind of look around at everything and look for anything that might be weird. Maybe some
Okay.
legs behind a box where the two bodies might be from the other two workers that aren't there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, right over there.
Oh, look!
You know, who knows? Who knows what we'll find?
Yeah.
All right, Vera and Tarvok, you
Yeah.
are you still talking together, or you turn back to Dimitri, or what do you want to do?
Yeah. Well, if Arthur kind of does his own thing, we'll. I mean, Vera's like kind of excited to talk to this dude because he's like kind of talking about alchemy
And he was also hitting on
whatnot.
Vera.
Yeah, totally. So she's like, "Oh, see, I met him. You studied with him? Is that what you said, or learned?"
Yes, that's correct. So he's from a small town just outside of Erebor, west of the mountains. And when we were trying to come up with a way to generate more lift in this aircraft, if you will, he helped me come up with a system to be able to alchemically convert exhaust from hydrogen fuel back into methane and then cool the exhaust to the point where it can turn into hydrogen again. It's very strange. We have a couple of tanks up in between the two balloons that have some very, very important ingredients. I don't even remember what he named them. He filled the tanks himself. And it's just a way of basically converting things into from methane to hydrogen, and it's super complicated, but I absolutely loved working with him. And I know that the amount that he put in the tanks should last us at least 20 voyages.
Vera gets a sort of a not frightened, but like kind of like a
Concerned?
Oh yes, concerned. That's a good word for being concerned. And she kind of like she tugs on Tarvok, and is like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna check in with Arthur maybe about that tour. Would you like to do it now?" And
he just kind of puts his hands on it. He says, "Well, I mean, you're here in the engine bay. There's really, this is what there is to it, and I guess my tour is more just having a reason to explain how everything works to people. If you have questions about the engines or about the tanks or about the hoses, for example, these hoses from the other side on the fore end of the tanks, they go into the cold storage, and the return hydrogen from the balloon up top actually cools the cold storage as it comes back into the tank. Very, very interesting."
It is very interesting. I just want to say, like, this is, I really appreciate this whole thing. Pretty good. Anyway, so Veer's like tugging on Tarvok and sort of to like, and then like motioning away, like let's go talk over here.
Okay.
And she's like, we'll be right back. And then whispers like, Tarvok, I think that maybe, do you remember the bag with the stuff in it?
The one that Bjorn kept. Yeah.
There was a Z on the equipment.
Oh. Uh-oh. Alright, so yeah, we have to drag Arthur and Sam out of here. We do need to come back, or at least get Tim to come down and have a look at this other fuel tank that isn't working properly.
It probably doesn't have the right chemicals in it or something. If he filled it himself, it could be filled with anything.
All right, so let's run as fast as me with little legs can take us then.
Because people are short.
Yeah. I guess I'll sort of gather Arthur and Sam then,
Okay.
while Tarvok more or less goes ahead. Like, I'm still trying to follow as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Okay. As you do that, Dimitri's still standing there, and he's like, he has his favorite knife in his hand, his purple knife that you all saw before, and he's just kind of like poking at the map that he has of the diagram of his engines, and he's just still seemingly so confused as to something he cannot figure out about the engine. But he kind of like twirls his knife, puts it back into his waistband, and says, I hope I didn't scare you all away, but please, if at any time you want a tour of the engine room or anywhere else on the ship, I even do solo tours, say in the dining hall in the evening, anytime.
I'm trying to think of like how Vera.
Fucking smooth, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was smooth. That was smooth as fuck.
Tarvok's just standing behind him going,
Vera's like, was thinking about leaving this dude behind, and she might think that he doesn't have anything to do with it, and so she's gonna kind of like get a little closer and be like, do you think that there might be something wrong with the engine because of what Z put in it?
And his face, as he's kind of like, for a moment you could tell from like his whiskers and the way his face was, he was kind of a little bit like sultry for a moment, and then that just kind of fades, and he says, I hope not. I have a problem, as you see. I still have short staff. I don't know where they are. I was supposed to have 5. As far as I remember, at the start of the journey, I had 5 hired unless they stayed at the shore, but I really hope not. I've known Z for some time since we've researched this, and he's always seemed like a stand-up guy.
Could you... Do you know the men that you're supposed to... the 2 that are missing? Do you know them?
And he goes... He scratches his head for a second. He goes, yes? Wait. No?
I'm gonna use prestidigitation and make an image of one of them appear in my hand.
Of one of his men that you've seen?
Of the one of the assassins.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And be like, is this does this look familiar?
And he looks at
and then the other one.
Right, okay. He looks at both of them and he goes, I've never seen these men before in my life. I'm really confused. I thought I knew all of my men before we took off, but I only remember my 3. I'm really sorry. Did I have a mimosa this morning or not?
Mimosa? Okay. Come. Maybe it's not safe to be alone here. You seem really nice. Let's come. She kind of like is stuttering and then like just turns around and like starts walking away. Like she's sort of urging
and
him
he
to
calls
come
back
along.
he calls back at you and he goes, I have my men and I have things to do, but I'll come find you later. Okay?
Okay, and then it's like, let's go find everybody else.
All right. Cool. So Tarvok, you as you're encouraging Vera's I guess game in the lower holds, you guys finally turn around and scoot back up, and you were heading to who, Tim, or to Bjorn? I can't remember who you said. Tarvok?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, I thought you said you were
Yeah,
going to go and meet with someone. Sorry.
No.
Oh, I said let's go find people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
following with Vera. It's just I wanted to get out of there since she seems super concerned. She knows a thing or two about alchemy.
All right. So you guys are heading back.
Bodies.
Oh, yes. Sorry, Arthur. You were wandering around with Sam, just kind of back and forth, going mimosa, 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 back and forth. And you don't find any bodies. You checked over the tanks. You're looking at the engine. You got uncomfortably close to the engine at one point and almost got your little red beard caught in it, but Sam actually kind of held you back as you stumbled forward towards it. It all seems to be running as smoothly as one not really versed with engines might expect. When you get near tank 2, the one that Dimitri said has the issues, that same feeling from the night before washes over you. And you gaze over the top of the tank, and you see the hoses going in, and for some reason, you feel like there should be a third hose coming out the top of the tank on the fore side of it. But there isn't. It's just, from what you can tell, just smooth green painted tank, and you can't explain it, but for some reason your inner mechanic feels like there should be another hose coming out of that, and that's the only feeling you really get from it.
Arthur's gonna stand there for a second with his arms crossed and holding the mimosa like up to his mouth. He's just kind of standing there, like tapping it against his lips.
Just like running your tongue.
It's like, and so he looks over at Sam, and he's like, does it look like there's something missing here?
So
and you actually, expecting that mimosa answer, you expect him to be saying that. You look down at him and he's just staring at that same spot. And you can see him trying to work something out in his head. And as you finish your question, he just kind of goes, "No mimosa." And he just, like, he seems to not be able to find the words for some reason.
And Arthur's just like, right.
Yeah.
As he pours it out the
Arthur like finishes the drink and then like he holds the glass down, like still staring at the spot. Like, away from the port door, he just kind of like. Huh.
Sam's just like,
Yeah.
But I imagine he hears Vera say, to Tarvok, like, all right, yeah, let's go find the others, and Arthur's just kind of like, and he kind of turns and looks back at everybody, and he's like, he stops and turns back. He's like, Sam, come on now.
Vera,
Come on.
All right.
How much mimosa is left in the?
This
the
bottle that
picture?
he has it's large. It's like
Yeah.
a gallon bottle basically, and he's got maybe like an inch and a half left until he gets to the bottom of it. So you guys have been rolling through quite a bit of mimosa.
I'm gonna Vera is gonna kind of like poke Base, and Base stretches out. I'm gonna use prestidigitation to flavor the mimosa to taste bad, like smelly feet or something.
Okay. Sure. All right, so the remaining mimosa in the bottle is gonna be nasty if you have another drink, Arthur.
Yep.
But
Arthur doesn't notice this, but he does. He walks up to you guys as like, you two were kind of like, all right, let's go. So Arthur kind of like catches up with Sam, and he goes, he looks at Vera, and he just goes, "There's no mimosa over there.
No
I think they're missing a hose." And he kind of like points with his glass like over where he noticed like something might be missing, and he's like, "Do you remember that feeling from last night? The he takes a sip, and he's like, the dreaded feeling of out of place. Yeah, over there. That happened again." He's like pointing with the glass still, like.
I guess I'll take a look.
sure.
As quickly as I can.
Yeah, as you kind of look back to where he's pointing before you guys all leave, you're looking at the spot that he points to on this tank, the spot kind of at the top in between the cold storage and the tank itself. And you too get this really messed up feeling of just, this is not right. Like, you feel like there should be a hose there. You guys, again, you're both not mechanics, but why would there be another hose there? That's the only thing you can think. And it's even stronger than last night.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
poisoning.
I know.
Oh my god. I'm gonna mage hand.
Yeah.
And like have
kind of wave through it.
Have Eco like kind of wave through that area a little bit.
Okay.
Just to see if anything like touches.
Sure. All right, you guys are standing there as your mage hand, and Eco kind of starts directing your mage hand up towards this hose, and you see it's like the regular size of a hand. It's kind of this ghostly handish figure, and as it gets to the exact spot that you are both so confused about, your mage hand flickers, disappears a little bit, and then comes back to view where the other side of this supposed hose might have been.
Uh-oh.
And you hear a sudden heavy humming in your ears, and you almost completely forgot that you just did that.
I saw it disappear. Or did we all forget?
Saw what?
You would have almost forgot.
It's yeah. We should check
Have
this
a cigar.
out. Yeah, well, no.
Tarbox, do you have any cigars?
I don't have any cigars, no. I don't really like to smoke, but I kind of feel that maybe we should leave this alone for the time being. But come back when we have everyone.
Yeah.
Leave
Yes.
what alone?
Yes.
Oh, the hand, yes.
So because Vera doesn't look very well just now, and
let's hurry.
If Dimitri was explaining this to us correctly, then is it hydrogen or methane that should be coming down from that hole? Hydrogen, right? To keep it cool.
Yes. I can't remember.
So from how Dimitri explained it, the hydrogen comes from the 4 balloon in the ship. It comes down into the cold storage, runs along the cold storage, cooling it, goes into the bottom of the tank, fills the tank with hydrogen. The hydrogen then gets pumped into the engines, which gets then converted into some sort of weird ass methane gas as it goes up to the other balloon, and then in between the balloons it gets converted with the extra substance that Z had researched with Dimitri earlier. There are tanks in between the balloons that it runs through and then gets converted back into hydrogen. That's how he explained it. Yeah. And it's just a big cycle. So, and then he also explained that the tanks are just emergency fuel in order to, like, if they need to all of a sudden ascend really quickly, they just pump more hydrogen up there, basically.
Okay. Yes. Okay, something's definitely wrong.
Well, I'm gonna go take a look. Hold this. Arthur hands his glass to Sam.
You've had like 6
And
glasses
Arthur-
in your hands.
Yeah, well, just 2. He has one in each hand, and one's been empty for a while, so he just kind of like sits on the ground. The one with like not moonshine. Oh my god. Mimosa. I haven't been drinking, I promise, at all. He hands that to Sam, and he starts climbing up the. He starts looking for a spot to climb up there to like see what's going on.
Okay. You. Oh.
Wait, real quick.
Mhm.
Vera, before, as Arthur's doing that,
Mm-hmm.
is going to look over at Tarvok and be like, you watch him. I'll go get help.
Okay.
Something is wrong.
Okay.
Sure, I guess I'll do that for you.
And then I'll
Oh, take Sam with you, would you?
oh yeah.
Arthur's like, wait, no, Sam stays.
like mimosa.
Sam just kind of.
Yeah,
Sam.
I'll find you later,
And he
Sam.
follows you.
I'll find you later.
Perfect.
I go looking for Bjorn because I assume that Tim is invisible.
Fair. That's very fair. All right. So Arthur, are you okay with me holding this point and we kind of revisit what Tim's doing for a minute?
Why are you asking me? I don't care.
Okay, I just want to make sure. All right, just remind me in a little bit because I'm apt to forget when we have the party split 3 ways. So we're going to scoot back up to Tim.
Don't forget, I'm climbing something right now.
Yes. We're going to come back when you're sitting on your ass with a sore tailbone. All right, we scoot back up to the promenade in the royal passenger section with Tim. You're inside their suite. You've been kind of looking around a little bit. As you've been sneaking around in there, you notice that there is enough sleeping space in this room and a few, of course, privacy dividers scattered around it. It's a very nice, vast, open room. I believe it's about, what is it? It's about 50 feet from fore to aft, and then about, it looks like 60 feet from port to starboard. So it's quite a large room. It's about 300 square feet in total. And like I said, there's various different, I guess, personal areas scattered throughout the room. And then there's some tables and then a couple of nice desks and like a little play area for the princess. And then the double doors that lead into the ballroom. The room, other than all the furniture, the toys, the books, the luggage, the clothing strewn about, is totally empty, and you find that there's sleeping space for approximately 4 people. If you were just counting beds. So there are 4 beds. They're all fairly large. The princess's is clearly the largest and has toys and random books scattered around on it. And that's basically all you can see. There's trunks, stuff like that.
So are the 2 of them still out on the balcony, or had they like wandered off into other parts of the building?
They from the time that you've been in there, they are still just kind of hanging out on the balcony. They've actually taken a seat now in a little patio set that's out there.
Tim's gonna wait for them to kind of like meander on away from the balcony so he can get out and take a look at those ladders.
Okay. You just kind of hunker down invisibly, and eventually they make their way back into the room, and little Catalina Sevensil is just kind of bubbling over about whatever nighttime stories she was reading the night before, and she says, Uncle Merrick, can you please read me the one with the spiders again tonight? The one with the spiders is my favorite. And he goes, yes, little one, I can do that for you. You need to remember to do your studies today. You can't take over the throne if you're not wise enough to rule. You remember, right? She says, yeah, Uncle, but I just like reading my books. And he laughs and says, I know. Hurry up and get changed. We'll eat some breakfast and read some books or something. And as they're doing that, you pop out onto the balcony. You see where they were sitting on there, and there's a couple of empty teacups that they had from earlier. And you go to inspect the ladders, and you see that there is a heavy draw handle, like a ring handle on a trap door that you can kind of lift up, and as you kind of crack it open, you can see the ladder goes directly down into the guards' quarters, exactly where you would expect it to go. Upon further inspection, you don't notice anything crazy going on with the ladders, no traps, nothing like that. You inspect both of them, and yeah, they're just ladders into the guards' quarters from what you can tell.
So after making sure that that was all clear and good to go, Tim will go back inside and listen to the story. Sitting about, I'd say, 6 feet from where the princess and her...
You son of a bitch, are you going to make me tell a story? Oh, good God. All right.
He's only going to listen about halfway through the story.
All right.
So if we're ever halfway through the story...
Tim is making the biggest points about security right now.
All right, so you hop back in there, and Uncle Merrick and Catalina are both in their morning finest, and they're sitting at the table, and she's chowing on a piece of toast as he sits there with the book open in front of him. And he begins the story, and he looks down at Catalina, and he says, I find it strange that the spider story is your favorite. Are you sure you don't want something
Tim will
about...
pop into existence. Oh, it's my favorite too.
Shit!
What?
Holy shit, okay.
In the least the least threatening way possible, he's just casually leaning back.
All
picks up
right.
a cup.
All right. I like it.
Well, that's the best point you could have ever made for Bjorn to be like, I'm gonna be on this fucking team now. Back
Wow.
the fuck up.
Yeah. All right. So you pop in.
Good morning, Your Majesty.
Holy fuck.
Do you need a break? Do we need to go on break?
I
so
think
you can
this is
think of
actually the
something?
perfect time for a break.
Because this is definitely not something we were expecting.
Yeah, that was well played, sir. All right. This is the perfect time for a break. We're going to take less than 10 minutes. You need to sit down, relax, take a breath. It will be okay. Just have some water. That is a good addition to the Nightbot. Thank you so much. All right.
Come on. Good job, Tim. That's
I'm gonna give you a point of inspiration for that when we get back. So write that down on your sheet, please. All right.
But only when we get back.
Not before. No. Okay. We'll be back in less than 10 minutes. You guys will see in a little bit. Thanks for sticking with us throughout this episode so far. This was a longer episode, and we had so much fun starting earlier and being able to get more into it for you guys. This is a very strange first half, and the second half is going to be even weirder, so I hope you all stick around. And we just want to say thank you again for being here with us. Without you guys, I mean, we would just be playing D&D anyways, but you guys make it so much more worth it, and we really appreciate your love and support. If you want to chat with us, hang out with us, or just come to our individual streams, you can find us in the Discord. The links will be in the description. Enjoy the rest of the episode of RMSS Catatonic. Okay, we have returned,
Welcome
Oh my
back.
god.
it's past the break, and at this point, we're gonna do our usual little plugs. Thank you guys so much for being here. Everybody who has a character named after you, I hope you are enjoying your characters, and I know we had some rules around doing characters in the past, but honestly, it's just been fun to just make them around you guys. So be active in the chat, come hang out with us in the Discord, and who knows, you might find yourself having your very own NPC plunked somewhere within the story, just to show that we really appreciate you guys. MC Hobo has not yet to make an appearance this session, unfortunately. Maybe he will. Depends on where the crew wants to go.
Yeah, we've been doing behind the scene things yet.
Yeah, sneaky breaky stuff. So, again, thank you guys so much for being a part of this. If you want to support us in as much of a way as you can, all you got to do is just tell your friends about us. Post us wherever you're allowed to post our links and our podcast and our YouTube, so people can get caught up, because we don't really do any advertising, right? We just basically hang out with you guys and say, hey, tell your friends. Thanks for bringing people along.
And go to bed, MC. Bed is useful.
Bed is
Go
useful.
to sleep. See you tomorrow.
I won't, but whatever. It's fine. It's fine.
Other news, our drunk stream that we did with Borderlands 2 on Saturday went interestingly.
It was so messy. We were so drunk.
It went amazing.
It
my
was.
God.
I won't lie. It was a lot of fun.
So good. So good.
I might have to water down the drinks next time.
Oh my God.
I've done one drunk stream.
No,
It was-
don't
it
water
was-
down the
it
drinks.
was-
You take it like a man.
It was like 40
Yeah.
minutes,
Yeah.
and Ken and I were done. That bottle of rum we were shooting was gone. Oh my God.
We had a lot of fun, and we want to plan another team event soon. Maybe we'll be able to convince Josh and Ruthie to have some drinks with us as well. Unfortunately, Borderlands was only a 4-player squad game, so we're gonna try and find something to get us all right loosey goosey and have a lot.
Is there anything we can play with 6 players?
I will find something. I mean, Tabletop Simulator could work too, but that's just going to result in everyone flipping the tables. So,
Which is
anyhow,
fine.
we'll figure something out. So, give us any suggestions you might have in the Discord if you guys want, or find us on Twitter at Ret-Con-Artists TV.
Wait.
Yeah.
I got one. In regards to drunk streams.
Yes.
Later on this month, I know that everyone here in the Ret-Con-Artists know that I enjoy incredibly violent things, and Mortal Kombat 11 is coming out.
Ah, yes.
So, I want, if anybody's paying attention or listening, or if they care, if you want to make up some rules for drinks for myself and Ken, because we're going to be going one-on-one matches and getting as hammered as we can. Yeah, it's going to be gross.
Just
We
press
need
one
to
button.
make the drink rule in favor of me in the good way, please, because Paul will kick my ass 9 times out of 10. And
I was gonna say, I'm sorry, but it's losers that get a shot. You gotta be punished.
Oh man, it's going to be so
Absolutely. At
But
least
you know
try.
what? There we go. So
After
every
you're on a
5...
3-loss streak, the winner takes 2 shots.
Ooh.
Okay, you know what? That's fair. That's fair.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say
there you
every
go.
loss
That's
in a
good.
row, you double the shots.
No, Ken, I'll get
Just
drunk.
2 in a
like 10
row. You do 4.
I'm notoriously good at these things.
Yeah. So, like I said, nine times out of 10, he kicks my ass. The 10th time out of 10, he just absolutely wipes the floor with me. So, that's the problem.
If anybody has, I'm going to be buying it for the PlayStation 4. If anybody listening has a PS4 and they're also buying it, let us know, because I will fight you too.
Sounds
It'll
good
be a
to
lot of
me.
fun.
You know what? I want to pause you guys right here for a second. Never Split the Party is rating with a party of 9. Thank you so much for swinging by, you guys.
Hi.
Welcome.
Everyone
Welcome.
coming in here, never split the raid. Thank you for coming by, you guys. We are the Ret-Con-Artists. We are a group of D&D
We only
players.
do that.
We always
We
split
split
the
the
raid.
party all the time. We're split up right now.
There are
We
people
hope-
by themselves.
Exactly.
That's me.
We do really hope that you guys enjoy story-driven D&D. We're here playing 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. It's kind of a mix of our own homebrew and a little bit of Faerun action. We have some very interesting characters here. We have Melendrock Tim, our half-elf sorcerer. We have Bjorn Saxison, our human cleric, who is a thunder cleric, for those of you who are curious. We have Tarvok Iron Flask, our dwarven ranger. Yes, I said dwarven and ranger in the same sentence. We have Vera. Hold on, what's your full name? I can't quite read it again on here. Vera
Samilla, Rayonim Core.
That is her.
That's a
She is a moon elf slime mancer. And then we have Arthur Taj. Oh my god, why can't I say it again?
Shah Arthur Taj Najima. Or no.
Shah
Arathar
Can't even pronounce his own name.
Najima Taj. There we
Najima
go.
Taj.
There's
Thank
a lot
you.
of words in
And he is our tiefling bard. And yes, I said
He goes by
tiefling and
Arthur.
bard in the same sentence as well. We have a lot of fun. These guys are all part of a group called the Maintenance Department. If you want to catch up on everything that has happened in the past and how they've all come together, we actually have 14 episodes already up on YouTube and Spotify and Castbox. So if you like either podcast form or video form, go by there and you can catch up on all the shenaniganery that you would like to enjoy.
We should continue the shenaniganery.
And we don't plan on stopping. It's just going to be stupid and stupid for the rest of our lives. But we love you guys for coming by here. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you guys want to mention before we get back in?
Back to the
Currently
No, stop stalling.
All right.
No more plugging.
I'm trying to come up with...
But more importantly...
No plug. Tim just appeared in the middle of the royal quarters being like, I like this story.
Yes, that is what happens. So to catch you all up to speed, we're on a flying airship called the RMSS Catatonic. There is a terrible plot of murder going on, and Judas, no. And some very strange happenings that if you guys want to catch up on it, like I said before. But Melendrock Tim has turned invisible, infiltrated into the royal quarters of this cruise liner. And
not to kill anyone.
Not to kill anyone. He's not a murder hobo, thankfully. And yet. Till Bjorn makes him snap. Or Arthur. And he has popped into existence right when the royal princess, a small 6-year-old girl, is being read a story by her uncle, and they had no idea he was there. Meanwhile, the rest of the gang are trying to investigate what the hell is causing the crazy shit on this ship, and we will get back to them in a moment. But right now, we had Tim earn himself an inspiration point by just popping into existence and completely throwing off the DM. And as you do so, Tim, Uncle Merrick immediately shoves back from the table, almost spilling all the contents from the table, and the book kind of goes flying from his hands. And he puts his arm around Catalina's shoulders and shoves her behind him. And he reaches for an amulet he's wearing, and he pushes a small button, and you hear a come from the area of the 2 doors and the partition wall that separated them, where there was a fireplace, and the fireplace drops over to the side and reveals a large mechanoid figure about 5 feet tall, 2 feet wide, and you see steam just pouring out of it as it walks into the room.
God.
And it has a saw blade on one arm, and it just starts spinning.
Tim is going to stand up from the chair calmly, not too quick of a move, place his cane down on the floor, put the cup that he picked up down from the table down, and he's going to stand and place his hand. I am no threat. Don't worry.
So, Uncle Merrick, he's still pushing young Catalina backwards, kind of towards one of the partitions into the I guess, sleeping areas on one of the sides of the room. And he...
Uncle Merrick, was it?
Yes. Who are you and how the hell did you get in here? And
Please
he
call
kind of...
Captain.
He's still holding his amulet. He seems to be almost controlling its intentions as this mechanoid is just kind of steaming away in the corner. And it takes another step before it stops again and starts its blade spinning again.
Please call the captain. You may refrain me if you choose to.
I may refrain you? I'm sorry?
Restraints.
And he kind of turns down towards Catalina and he says, "Dear, please go hit the small button beside my desk."
Just please be careful with the cane.
And she's just kind of frozen in place, and you see like tears starting to well up in her eyes, and she looks up at her uncle and she nods a little bit as one of them drips down her cheek and pops
Tim
over
will kind
and
of casually look over at her and whisper,
It's really a good book.
and you see her kind of sniffle a bit before she runs over to the nightstand, and she kind of smiles a little bit about the book, and she kind of slaps this little button on top of the nightstand and runs back behind her uncle and peeks around at you. And you all just kind of stand there awkwardly for a little bit as you're waiting for a response from this button. Every
So,
now and
it's
then.
quite a nice day out.
Oh my god, you're gonna talk about the weather.
Fuck you, Tim. All right, so yeah, he just like eyes you up and down, and he just nods as you're making small talk to him, and then eventually you see from either end of the staircase from where this mechanoid is, you see the doors burst open, and Luther and Spud run in with like long pole axes in their hands, and they go, "Yeah, what's going on in here?" And they look over at the mechanoid, and then they look back at you guys, and then through the double doors on the ballroom side, Captain Exo opens up the door with his keys, and he walks in, and he says, "What's going on in here?"
Good morning, Captain.
"Morning, Tim. What are you doing in the royal chambers? I thought I told you explicitly that they like their privacy."
Making a point.
"And that would be that you're selling cookies or something?"
I'm sorry, did you have people guarding the doors?
And he looks over at Spud and Luther on either side of this mechanoid, and he goes, "Boys." And they just kind of like shrink back, and their helmets are down over their eyes, and they, "Sorry, Dad." And one of them says sorry, the other one says dad. It's like they're completing a sentence together. "Sorry,
Don't get me wrong,
Dad."
they were doing their job, but you're gonna have people. They did fine. They did what they were supposed to do. I might be a little bit more crafty than your average person, but my point is, I'm here.
"Yes, and that is concerning to me, boys. Go take a break. I'll talk with you later." And the Spud and Luther, they just kind of nod and go back through their doorways and down the stairs from what you can hear. This mechanoid still hasn't stopped spinning its saw blade and steaming away, as Uncle Merrick is still like kind of looking back and forth between you guys, and he says, "Captain, do you trust this man?"
Can you please turn that off? It's making me rather uncomfortable.
And Exo just kind of nods at Merrick, and Merrick kind of works his little amulet a little bit, and the mechanoid just powers down, and then takes 2 steps back, and then just seems to kind of hunker down.
Thank you.
Merrick, he says, "Honey, just go read on your bed or something, please." And she nods
And
and
just kind of like waves.
and she gives you a little shy wave as she goes over to her little partitioned area and flops up and starts playing with some toys. Captain Exo and Merrick both move towards the table where you are, and the captain says, "So, how did you get in here, and were you invited?"
Well, first I'll start by saying easily, and number 2, no.
Simple answers.
Love it. I love it.
And do you think that there's still an issue on this ship, Tim? Is that why you're pulling this bull honky?
Well, if any of my friends have had a conversation with you, I'm sure they've said the same. I'm just furthering that point.
Yes. I'll move my boys somewhere else and double the guard, I suppose, but I don't appreciate your methods. And Merrick turns and goes, "Yeah, this is intrusive, to say the least."
Sometimes the only language people listen to is violence. Sometimes it's surprise.
Well, I'm glad it was surprise and not the other one. Tim, please, can we leave these poor souls alone as they go on with their day? They have a long evening ahead of them.
Indeed. Don't forget to finish reading that book.
Tim will pick up his cane and finish the drink that clearly wasn't his, and leave with the cat.
You look and kind of around the partition, you see Catalina just kind of smiling and waving at the man in the top hat. And as you guys leave, you hear Merrick, right before the door closes, he says, "How rude." The captain stops you as you guys go into the ballroom. The captain stops you at the doors, and he sees the two guards kind of like straighten up on the outside of the doors, and he goes, "At ease, it's fine, it's fine. Tim, I need to ask if you please not try anything like that again, especially with the royal family. I don't want my reputation going to the toilet on our second voyage, so please, if you don't mind, keeping the surprises and the violence to a minimum and being a little more discreet."
I think of it as a learning experience, Captain.
I can't disagree with you there. Where's the rest of your gang? Your
That's a good question.
co-workers?
Let's go out to the food area.
Right, yes. Alright. So you guys are going to go down to the dining hall. Last we left Arthur down in the basement. Sorry, not basement. Sorry, the lower engine holds, I should say. Arthur, you wanted to climb up on top of this tank. I hope you're a nimble tiefling. Because there's no handles or anything on it. There's simply just the hose that you can kind of step up on either side. That's basically it. All right, yeah.
I have one of these.
That is the one. I want you to roll me a dex check, please.
Well, can it be,
You want to use your acrobatics?
yeah.
Sure, do that.
Mm-hmm.
So just as a reminder, Tarvok is down there with him.
Yes.
So if he starts to fumble, I can give him a boost.
Okay.
So Arthur's,
You guys are all still kind of in the area, yeah.
well, I know Vera left, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, sorry, you told...
yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
this is what happens when we
Vera
split
took
up a little
Sam
bit
and
here.
left.
Yeah, perfect, okay.
So
I'm trying
Arthur's
to fix
climbing,
it. I'm sorry.
and he looks down at Tarvok, and he goes, Tarvok and Tim, you're gonna catch me if I fall, right? Because he has no idea Tim's not there. So he just always assumes Tim's around.
Perfect.
So it's just me down here. So if Tim is around and he hears it, maybe he'll help.
I like your
But
confidence.
it's Tim, so I don't think he's going to help. It's not
So-
that he's rude. I mean, he just keeps to himself.
Arthur looks down at Tarvok, and he says, well, it's a little bit longer of a drop if you catch me now, huh? And then Arthur
Oh.
snickers at his short joke. He's,
You're so funny. Oh, I've never heard that one before.
so
So
yeah,
maybe
he-
I'll hit the ground.
Shots fired.
Arthur snickers a little bit to himself while he's climbing, and I rolled a 12.
All right. Do you want to try and help him with that?
Sure. How do you want me to help him?
Just
Uh,
roll. Just roll
Just do you
me
want like a
20.
strength check? To throw
Yeah,
him?
yeah.
Cool.
He falls down, you throw him back up.
Yeet.
It's a trampoline.
That
15 plus 3. I got 18.
All right. So Arthur, you start climbing up on this, and this tank is very rounded on the corners and the top, and you kind of like slap your arms up over it, and you start to slide down a bit. And Tarvok, you see this, and you just kind of waddle up behind him and just shove his feet. and as you do that,
Yeet.
Arthur like pushes off of you, and then he just like flops on top of the tank. Now you're just like kind of over top of this big cylindrical tank.
So Arthur lays there for a minute. He kind of rests his head against the metal of the tank, and he's like,
It's cool to the touch.
yeah, exactly. After all the mimosas he's had, he's just kind of like laying there, and he's like, he ponders falling asleep there for a moment. He thinks about like all the cats he's seen sleep on top of odd places, and he's just kind of like, this is comfortable. He's like, no, and he kind of opens his eyes, and he starts kind of shimmying his way over to where like the hand vanished on the side of the tank with the mage hand,
Okay.
and he gets as close as he can to it, and he just kind of just sort of touches it to figure out what's going on.
All right. This is what you experience in your mind's eye. And this is going to be tough to explain. You reach forward with your finger to the exact spot you saw the hand disappear. And the next thing you know, your hand is further forward and a little bit to the left. And you're past the point and off to the left of where it would be. It's almost like you lost half a second.
So Arthur does that for 3.5 hours.
We lost
No.
3.5 hours.
Whoa! No, so he kind of like plays with it for a minute there, and he's just kind of like, and then can I roll like an Arcana check or something like that? Is there a way I can discern what this is? Like, is it a black hole? You know, is it the mimosa? You know, what's causing this?
Might be a mimosa.
Yeah. And if not, that's cool. Just trying to figure out what he can learn
Yeah,
from this.
sorry. Let me just try and think of a way to explain this as best as I can.
Yeah, and Arthur's remembering when he was looking at a glass of water one time, and he took a pencil and he put it in there, and like it looked like the pencil shifted
that is
spots.
basically,
you know, that's like what he's.
Yes, that is basically kind of the feeling you get. However, like I said, you don't remember seeing your hand shift to that position, and your arm is still intact. It just seems like it's almost like you blinked, and then your hand was way further and way off course. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. So, Arthur's also going to cast Minor Illusion and try and fix it.
Like try and put your hand into where it would normally be?
Where it's supposed to be. He's trying to like fight against whatever's causing this kind of thing.
Okay.
I have no idea what this means mechanically, but he's just trying to see what he can do to learn or break what is already broken so it fixes. He's trying to like counteract.
Right. All right. You cast your Minor Illusion and it actually works. You see personally yourself, you can see through the illusion, so you can see your own hand where it would be, but you also see the new positioning that you're casting into this area. And for a second you feel like there's this humming in your brain that just gets even more intense, and it breaks that concentration, and you just like you have no, you know what, roll me a Constitution check, please. Okay.
Oh, well, actually 12. Sorry.
Maybe it's the mimosas. Maybe it's something else. But you black out for a second. And when you come to, you are sliding off of the tank, and your illusion is gone, and you don't remember anything in the last 2 seconds.
Am I falling, like, for sure?
You're just kind of like slipping down slowly. Tarvok's still kind of below you there.
Okay, so Arthur hangs on and he tries to center himself back on top of the tank again.
Okay.
Well, he doesn't want to fall yet.
Yeah. You haven't slid far enough, thankfully, to lose complete grip, so you just kind of shimmy back up there. And for like I said, maybe it's the mimosas, maybe it's something else, but you definitely don't remember the past couple seconds of trying that.
Before we continue,
yes,
is Alex drinking a mimosa?
I was wondering.
What are you drinking, man? No?
It's just juice.
I mean,
What are
it's
you thinking
gin and orange juice.
I mean, it's close enough.
Close enough.
Oh, never mind. He's having a mimosa.
Mimosa.
Out of Snoop Dogg and leave me alone.
I mean, gin is great.
Yeah. All right. So you are back up on top of the tank, and this strange, like I said, that strange humming got even more intense, but now it's died down again a little bit.
Okay. I'm gonna Arthur's going to try and mimic the hum, the frequency of it. He is a bard. So he's gonna try and like he's trying to figure out like what it is and the tone of it, the pitch of it. So he's gonna try and hum it back, what he's hearing.
Wow. Okay. You also, I want you to take a point of inspiration for that, please. That was unexpected, and I like it. Because
like, I don't know what I did.
I really want to work. I really want to work with that. All right. Roll me.
Feeling inspired.
Roll me a performance check, please.
Good think I have a high number in this, and it's a 12. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Yeah, 12. Yeah, 12.
12 total?
Yes, and actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna use my point of inspiration.
Sure. That's why I gave it to you.
Nat 20, nat
Well, it's a
20.
little better. 14.
Okay. All right. So you're going back to Bard school and you're thinking about all the scales that you learned and all the minors and majors, and you just kind of like start flicking through them and like, and
Yeah.
you start rolling through a scale, trying to almost harmonize with what you can feel is this hum.
Hiccuping between harmonies.
Mimosa. Yeah, it's coming back up.
he's humming mimosa.
And as you work your way through the scale of pretty much everything that you've learned in music, you eventually reach a mid baritone, and it starts to rumble, and you start to feel almost like your head is vibrating. So you feel like you're starting to harmonize with this, and you get this very, very, very strange sense of alertness all of a sudden. And you know in your mind that you are harmonizing with whatever this noise is. And in that split second of you harmonizing with this and holding this note as you're projecting this note before your breath completely escapes you, you remember Bevington giving you all 6 tickets. You remember Glavius Sekul had 2 sons instead of 3, or instead of 1. And you start to remember looking at the top of the crate in the cargo hold and seeing this strange white and pink and red hose coming through the top of it and going up through the floor. And as you look to your left, while you're just about to run out of breath, you see the same strange pink, white, and reddish looking hose up close, almost like a fleshy substance, as it's bursting through the top of this tank and running across the hallway above you guys and into cold storage. And then you let your breath out and you finish your note, and all of a sudden you feel completely disoriented again. And you don't remember any of what I just told you. But you know that you saw something.
Wait, what?
You know that you saw all of something, but you don't remember it for the life of you. Maybe it's the mimosas.
Weird mimosa.
So Arthur's like still staring off in that direction. And he's just like, I imagine he kind of like loses the humming note for a minute, or for a second. He just kind of gives up. He's just like staring.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't remember seeing anything, but he remembers seeing something.
Yeah, you remember. So this
Like,
is what you remember.
Yeah.
And
he knows nothing's there, but he knows something's there.
Correct. I'll tell you what you genuinely remember. You remember trying to harmonize with something. You remember that you think it happened, but you can't remember the note. And now this is where RP's really coming in heavy here, and I'm trusting you with this. And you remember that you had some sort of a revelation just a second ago. It's like when you feel like you had a stroke of brilliance, and then all of a sudden it's just gone and you forget what you were about to say.
Yes.
So that is what you remember.
So he is shit.
That's
Okay.
Do
well,
re mimosa.
I'm trying to think of like.
a
I
doozy.
know. That's why I say I'm trusting you with this,
I
RP
can't
wise.
use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out what level of understanding he has to even act on something after that.
Mm-hmm.
Because they also.
I'll add to it a little
Okay.
bit. I'll give you a little bit more to work with here. I'll add to it.
Okay.
You do remember Bevington saying, "Silly me, I thought there were 6 tickets." You do remember seeing Glavius Sakul and his family and feeling that something was missing. I'll give you that much.
So like a person is missing, right?
You feel something
That's
is
like
missing. You can't quite place what it is, but you feel like that they don't seem like a complete family.
Oh, one of them was missing a shoe then. Obviously.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last thing Arthur's gonna do is does he still hear the humming? Not that he's humming back anymore, but does he hear it still?
Okay, so you
Does
do
he still-
yes, you do recall doing that harmonizing.
Right.
And you know that there was something nagging at your brain, and when you try to think about it, yeah, you do notice that there is this faint humming in your ears and inside your head.
Okay. So he's gonna get close. He does remember there being a weird like pencil and water trick going on there. So while hearing this humming, he's gonna get very close to it, and he's gonna cast silence around himself.
Okay.
Because he doesn't remember seeing anything, but he still has this humming, and he knows something happened.
Okay.
So he's gonna cast silence around himself and the where the pencil and water trick thing's going on.
Okay.
It's a 20-foot sphere, so he's gonna like engulf that area, so nothing.
So
no
Tarvok's going to
sound
be in that as
created.
well, right?
I don't know how big is this tank. I pictured it being a lot bigger. How
It's
far
pretty
up in the
big.
air
It's
am
about
I?
you're about 10 feet up in the air, so I'd say Tarvok is in that sphere as well. So
Okay.
here's what I want to do. Ruthie, Josh, please take your headsets off for this next part.
Oh fuck!
I want to see how
Like,
well you guys can
I
deal
have
with
to
this.
I have to turn.
Sure, you can mute me if
off
you want.
because,
Yeah,
I won't be able to.
that's fair.
I'll be
I'll-
able to hear.
I'll give you guys double thumbs up when we're ready. Okay, I hope they heard that. All right. So, Arthur, you cast silence around you and Tarvok. And this is what you both recall. You guys both looked in the suitcase, correct, beforehand?
Yes.
All right. You recall the axe. It looked so familiar to you guys. All you can think about when you now recall that axe that you saw is Ileana. You recall Bevington saying, "I have 6 tickets." You recall seeing Glavius Sakul's family. Hold on, I'm going to wait to make sure Alex knows not to. Do me a favor, Alex. Leave your headset off. All right. You recall he had 2 sons. Where's the other son that we didn't see this morning? And now you're just wondering, why were these guys in this container questioning reality? And why is Dimitri missing people that he can't place? And that is what you all remember.
Okay.
All right. And as you look up at the tank, you clearly see this fleshy hose. It looks to be maybe about 10 to 12 inches in diameter. And it's pulsating. So there you have it. That's everything that's going on with you guys right now.
All right. Can I take a reaction to the fleshy hose?
Yes, you can.
Okay. As I mentioned earlier, Tarvok is dressed in his traditional adventuring gear, and he did happen to bring his bow and arrow.
Yes, you did.
So I'm going to take a pot shot at it.
Okay.
So I get 2 attacks per turn. This is going to be somewhat strategic.
Okay.
I want to strike it where it's coming. So how is it? So it's branching out of the tank up to the ceiling and into coal storage.
It's like it's like curving over and then into the wall of cold storage.
Okay, so I want to pin it closed just below the entrance of cold storage.
Okay.
And I want to pin it just above the tanker. So that way there's no risk of me hitting that goddamn tanker.
Okay. All right.
Roll?
Yeah, roll me your attacks with Dex, please.
13 plus 7, so 20.
Okay. And then,
18 plus 7, 25.
all right. Both of those, they strike this hose directly in the center. Dead on hits. And you see the hose shudder for a second. And you see this goopy gray, almost like an oily substance coming out of it. And you see it kind of like shift itself back and forth a couple of times, and your arrows get snapped off at the head, still buried inside this thing, but it like breaks off the arrows and like finally settles and relaxes again. And you see it start pulsating even stronger. How long does your spell last, Arthur?
Hang on, I know this. Hang on, here it is. 10 minutes.
10 minutes. All right, well, we could do this for 10 minutes. You guys have probably about 9 minutes left of this. So what do you want to do before we kind of bring the rest of the group back in here?
I'm well, Tarbok is enraged by the fact that it snapped some of its arrows. So it wants to kind of really give it a better shot. So Tarbok's going to expend one of his spell slots.
Okay.
In fact, he's so angry. Hold on, let me see what happens there.
Oh, before you do that, can you also roll me some damage on those arrows, please?
Oh, sure.
I should probably put damage to this thing.
All right, give me a moment here.
Also, is this thing technically attacking me?
No.
But are you sure?
So the first one's 1d8 plus 3, so 4 plus 3 is 7.
Okay.
What is that other bonus I get? What's that other die? Give me a second.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're Mark.
No, I'm not Mark. I'm looking for Colossus Slayer. I don't remember what I add to it.
Okay.
Is it a 1d8?
I can't remember.
Colossus Slayer. Yep, an extra 1d8 damage. So my second attack, because I get 2 attacks now, is 6 plus 3, which is 9, plus an extra 6. So I hit it for... Shit, what did I say?
9 and 6, 15?
Yeah, 9 and 6. That's for my second strike is 15 alone. I don't remember what the first one was. It was like 7 or something.
Yep, no, I've got it all here. All right.
Oh, okay.
So it's total 22?
Yep, and I'm very, very mad at this because it broke some of my fancy arrows.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to cast Hail of Thorns, and I'm going to make sure that this thing is just littered with spines. So I'm going to cast it as a second level spell.
Okay.
So my next range attack, and I'm quite adept. I'm good.
Sure.
I'm good with a bow and arrow.
Okay.
Word. So I'm targeting just the 5-foot radius around this thing on the ceiling. So that way, if I hit, it shouldn't make anything explode.
Okay.
So I'm going to be. It takes an additional 1d10 piercing damage, and then another 1d10 piercing damage.
Roll me the damage.
All right. So first I have to roll my attack because it's just additional damage. So roll to hit for the first one. 16 plus 7, so 23.
Okay. Jesus.
So here's my first d8 to attack. It's an 8 plus 3, so that's 11, and then a 1d10 on top of that.
Jesus.
Where's my 1d10? Oh, 2. Oh, it was only a 2.
Okay,
so there's 10 damage.
8, 10, and then 6.
Oh no,
so
8 plus 3. I'm sorry. So 8.
Okay, so
plus
27
3.
total damage then.
Okay,
I'm
here
doing the
comes
math right.
my second attack.
Holy fuck.
So that is a 7 plus 3.
Yep.
I get Colossus Slayer again.
Okay.
So that's another 7 plus 3. So there's 20 damage there, and another D10,
I hate you.
which was a 10. So I hit it for 30.
He blew through that damage, didn't he?
He blew through a lot. So, Tarvok, you cast... Alright, so this is going to be an interesting result. Tarvok, you cast this massive barrage of angry arrows and spikes at this thing. And as you do, it just completely shreds it apart. Completely
Good.
shreds it. There's an end flopping from either side of where it's coming out of the tank and where it's coming out of the cold storage. And you just see like flesh and goop and gray oily substance all over the place. And it just hangs there limp. And yeah, that's basically it. This whatever this is seems to have been destroyed. You see it kind of like slump down in the tank on the right, into the hole in the tank, which then all of a sudden you start to smell this faint gassy smell as it seems to almost slip back completely into the tank and cause a leak from the top of it.
Okay, so silence is still going. So
You don't hear
Hold on a
any
second.
hissing, but you can assume that some
I don't.
hydrogen might be pouring out of this tank right now.
But what you can't hear.
Arthur's just looking at him like,
Okay, so now that
All
I
right.
have now that I've got Arthur's attention, I'm gonna go and just walk over to oh my god, Dimitri.
Okay. All right, Dimitri is out of your cone, and as you suddenly
Yeah.
come back, the humming in your ears is back. You don't remember what just happened, but you know that you are down 2 arrows, and something four arrows, sorry, and something crazy just happened, and you are now back into the noise, and you hear this humming, and you hear the engines all mixing together. Arthur, what are you doing? We need to get the other crew back here soon.
Arthur's just sitting there staring at the what he sees. He's going to is there he's gonna find a spot where there's like some oil or grease or something like on the tank somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay? And he's gonna scoop as much of it up in his hand as he can. And he's gonna draw a big arrow on the top of the tank, pointing at where this thing is.
What are you drawing with? The oil itself?
The oil and the grease, like he's like somehow drawing it in like the filth in the tank, the dust, or the, he's drawing a picture using whatever dirt and grime he can find.
Okay. All right. So you do get some of the dirt off of the like floor in the tank and stuff, and you draw that in there. And then where are you going after that?
He's going to look down at Tarvok, probably looking very confused.
Okay.
And understand that as soon as he releases his silent,
Yeah.
he can discern that he's not going to remember anything either.
Okay.
So he's going to do whatever he can to remind himself as soon as remind himself that there's something over there that he needs to worry about when he drops the silence.
All right. You drop the silence. Everything that you were just seeing comes into view. And do you think I could bring back the other crew now?
I think so.
All right. We need Ruthie to pay attention. She's not looking.
There you go.
All right. So
I wasn't the only one that didn't have my headset on.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
So there was some interesting stuff
Felt
that
very
happened.
singled out.
Yeah, no, it was more than half of the crew. So, how do you guys feel? Did all our pantomiming effectively describe everything that just happened?
I distracted
every
myself so
arrow.
that way I wouldn't pay attention or I would
Yeah.
have read your lips.
I was trying. Yeah. That was me too. I was like, I'm not gonna look at him.
I love that.
Over
That's
here, like tippy typing. I'm like, all right, don't pay attention. Don't pay attention.
I also had to block the stream
yeah.
because
Oh
I
yeah.
guarantee people are saying things.
No, they've actually been awesome in the chat. Thank
Oh,
you
well,
guys
that's
so
good.
much for not spoiling that. I really
I
appreciate
I
it.
totally
Well,
did not realize that could have
Friggin'
happened, but I
Stamped
still
wouldn't tell me anything.
Yeah, he's like, it's a secret.
All right, so that is a new method that I have never really tried before, and I really am glad that that worked out so well. So,
It was good
all
stuff.
right, Arthur, you drop your silence, and again, like I said, everything that you had just gone through and experienced is out of your mind, but you have something nagging at you.
No.
As you're looking at Tarvok, you have something nagging at you, and you see him standing there talking or approaching Dimitri, I should say. And yeah, you have that faint feeling. You look at the tank that you were just looking at, or that you were just standing by, and you see a little bit of dirt, like just kind of suspended slightly off the surface of the tank, which is really strange, like a little bit of sandy, gritty dirt. And it's like, from what you can tell, it's in the shape of a strange arrow, but when you look at it from the side, it seems to be just kind of hovering off the side of the tank a little bit. And you suddenly start smelling this strange gassy smell, and you hear a slight hiss coming from the top of the tank as you notice that there's a little bit of hydrogen kind of steaming out the top of the tank.
Oh.
Get the duct tape.
Yeah, Arthur just says, well, we learned nothing, and slides off the tank.
You must have done something up there on the top of the tank. It reeks in here now.
I don't think it was me. I think it was you.
Well,
And Dimitri sees you guys and he goes, "What the hell did you do? You guys, the tank
I
is
don't know.
leaking. What happened?"
I maybe I shot it. I mean, I've got me arrow. I've got me bow. And I'm missing a few arrows. I don't know what happened.
This is extremely dangerous. We cannot have hydrogen leaking into the rest of the hull. Please, find something. Find some kind of rubber if you can, please. And he starts like rifling through his drawers, and he finds like this weird adhesive paste that he uses, and he keeps ruffling through, and he finally finds like a massive slab of that rubbery material that the balloons are made out of. And he says, "Here, take this, Mr. Redbeard, please take this and slap that around there, please, because it's not going to hold very long. We need to put pressure on it."
Arthur catches it and just kind of, probably incorrectly, puts this thing on there.
Just forgetting the
Sounds like
paste.
Carbon dioxide poison.
And
So,
Arthur looks down at Tarvok and he's like, I've had another idea. We get everyone off the
All right.
ship, everybody, and then we blow it up. Then there could be no
Are you still
sabotage.
drunk, man? I mean, you did have a lot to drink. Not that I don't mind a good explosion, mind you.
Yes. And then he starts climbing down.
All right.
Okay.
Did you seal it?
so it's still just fuming out the top of this tank, and Dimitri turns to you, Tarvok, and he says, "Bah, Redbeard guy is useless right now. He's drunk as skunk. Please boost me up."
No, shatter. So I just put my bow back.
All right. Just give me a quick strength check of 12 or higher, please.
Yeah, no problem. 19.
Yeah. So you interlace your fingers, and he just like single step launches up on top of this, with the grace of maybe a skilled roguish type in the past.
Oh my.
And he like with a little flourish, he like lands very perch-like on top of this thing, and he skitters over to where that piece of rubber is, and he takes the paste and he slaps it around, and then he puts the rubber over top of it, and he goes, "Okay, I need to wait here for a little bit until this dries. Put pressure on it, please. I don't
you hear
know."
a humming?
His ears kind of like twitch back and forth, and goes, "Now that you mention it, Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's not my engine, I don't think. I thought it was the fuel problem, but yeah.
Dude, if you go that way,
There's Khajiit.
yeah, that was him. Arthur points out where the hand thing is, where like, things are disappearing. He points out and he goes, "You know, you got a black hole right there," and he just kind of like points it out.
Casual black hole.
He goes. He looks to where you guys saw what you did before. He looks in that area that you pointed to, and he goes, "I don't see what you're talking about, friend. I'm sorry. Please just get my men and have them come give me a hand."
Yeah, we'll go get him, I guess.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. He did hear what you said, Arthur, as you did your hand in a drunken way, and he kind of leans over on the rubber a little bit, and then he takes his paw hand and he just kind of like waves it there, and he goes, it's hydrogen. There's nothing here. I'm sorry. All right, so you guys go to walk between the tank and the cold room, and Arthur, maybe it's the mimosas, but as you guys walk around,
Fucking phrase of the night, right?
I love it.
This is a mimosa.
Everything that happens,
What?
the mimosas.
As you scoot around the tank to go and find his maintenance men, you slip really it's almost like you step outside your front step in the wintertime and there's ice everywhere and you need to keep your balance. Roll me a dex check to stay alive.
And your flip-flops go flying into the air as you fall.
Fatality.
Morality.
16.
All right, you barely keep your feet. You do that thing like the guy with the shovel where he like slips for 10 seconds and then you just kind of grab the side of the tank and just hold yourself for a second. You're good, and you regain your balance, and you look down at the floor, and there doesn't seem to be anything down at the floor that you were slipping all over, but wood floor never has behaved like that for you before. So yeah, I'll leave you with that as you guys go to find the maintenance guy.
Oh,
but you can I'm leaving that open to you, whatever you want to do with that.
Okay. Arthur immediately drops to the floor.
Okay.
And he like gets like level with the wood. And again, he puts his head down for a second and he's like, "Oh, I could just fall asleep here." He opens his eyes and he's like, "No, don't." And he just starts taking his hand and he's like touching the wood and trying to figure out like if there was something there that made him trip. Like he's trying to find the slippery spot.
Okay. The same thing with the mark that was on the side of the tank. You start to play with the dirt on the floor and kick it up, and as it sort of swirls up a little bit, it rests just an inch above the ground. And you find that very strange, and you suddenly have this very gross feeling of something on your hands, but you can't explain it.
Alright, if it's floating above the ground, Arthur stands up and he jumps in the air to see if he lands above the ground or not.
You don't. You see the dirt kick up, and for some reason it just still reminds you of the little arrow that seems to be drawn on the side of that tank.
Okay. If he remembers the arrow, then he turns around and yells up to Dimitri, and he says, do you see an arrow up there?" And he's trying to like direct where he last saw it. And
Dimitri looks around for a second. He says, "Yes, I see strange dirt on here."
"Don't you think that's a little weird?"
"Yes, you're correct. Did you draw this?"
"I don't know. But I remember something happening. That's like, maybe."
All right. So at this point, I'm going to say that you guys do go and get his maintenance men that come and help him out. He tells them to hop up there. They cover the hole themselves, and he leaves them. I do want to move a little bit with Bjorn. We haven't visited Bjorn in a little while.
Hello, that is me.
You have been scouring for Lieutenant Tuchable throughout the ship. And
I will also be screaming out, Lieutenant Chuchable, Chuchable, I have business with you.
You eventually
As loud as I can and down every hallway in case I am not being observant enough.
All right.
Also, my cat is throwing a fit, so.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Let me just click my maps here. Boop. All right. You make your way down to the live dining area, which is open air live dining. And as you're screaming, Lieutenant Tuchable, all the guards are looking at you strangely. And you finally make your way towards the stage, and your commotion causes a very angry-looking Lieutenant Tuchable to come out from the stage, where you see a very distraught-looking MC Hobo sitting there, kind of like fixing his bow tie. And it seems like he might have just been roughed up a little bit from what you can see.
Did you hurt the hobo?
No, I don't know what you're talking about, but listen.
He's gonna.
Why are you screaming at me?
He's gonna put a hand up, and he's gonna look at Hobo. Why are you hurt?
Did he touch you?
And Hobo looks over at you and he goes, "Bro, I'm fine, I'm okay."
Tell the truth.
Roll intimidation. Oh. Heyo.
I intimidate him so hard he pees his pants.
All right. So Hobo, for a second, he looks like he's gonna resist you. He looks like it, and then he just kind of like resigns to the fact that he's probably gonna poop his pants if he tries to resist you. And he goes, "Ah, jeez, I'm not a narc or anything, man. Like, oh god, but I don't trust that guy. I don't know."
And now, I will turn to Chable. Why doesn't he trust you?
Tuchable looks back at you and he goes, "No, listen, it's him I think is maybe causing some issues. I know you."
I said,
you
why doesn't he trust you?
I have no idea. I have no clue, and problem is, I think he's... Can we talk in private?
How close are Tim and the captain to what's going on? Because they were headed back toward the dining area.
You know what? I think you guys are just passing by.
I'm gonna see the captain. Captain!
Yes?
You found Tim!
Aye.
Hello.
We lost him about 2 hours ago. Where did you find him?
Long
I'm gonna
story.
look at Tim as if I know. Like, I already know he did something. I just don't know what it is yet.
It seems that you might have an idea of what your friend is prone
Did he
to
prove
doing.
my point?
Well, listen, I have increased...
He proved my point! And he goes,
You are welcome.
And
he
Tuchable...
goes,
Tuchable...
Please always be sneaky. Do not change. You are doing a great job.
I don't like that phrase.
Always be sneaky or you're doing a great job.
You're doing a great job. Knock it off.
Doing a great job.
You're doing a terrible job.
Tuchable interrupts you guys and says, "I don't like you guys talking about things. What point did you guys prove? And please,
Then Bjorn's gonna turn and say that your security is lacking."
His eyes narrow up real tight. And he says, "I dare you to say that again. I do not..."
Your security is lacking.
Roll intimidation.
Goddamn.
A
I
17.
dare you to. Boom.
17. You say it again and he just kind of...
I'm puffing up my chest. Like,
Yeah.
I'm the alpha dog here, bitch.
He leaves you alone and he turns to the captain and he says, "Exo, what is going on?" And Exo says, "Well, I had to make an executive decision and put more guards in the royal packs, if you will." I hope that's okay with you. I don't mean to step on your toes, but it seems our friend has found a gap in security. And
It's a black hole.
Tuchable is a little pissed off, you can tell. He just starts fuming out the ears, turns, and just walks away from you guys. He looks over at Hobo as he passes towards the stairs, and he just kind of like gives him a quick glare, and he hops down there, and Hobo hops up and comes over to join you guys.
I was gonna say Hobo. Don't leave. Captain, please make another executive decision.
Aye, what?
I want on the security detail for the princess.
I suppose you're at least twice as large as the mech that is in there, but I will run it by them, see what they say. I don't see it being a huge problem after today's escapade. And he looks over at Tim.
Tim will just like...
Aye. Alright.
Bjorn is so proud of Tim right now. Yes, I didn't even ask him to, and he did it.
So, the captain turns to you guys and says, I should probably go put out the fire that is in Lieutenant Tuchable's pants right now. I will talk to you all later. And he briskly walks towards where Tuchable just went. And the three of you are standing.
Me too. Throw it overboard.
Alright, so you're all standing there with Hobo in the center of the dining hall. There's a few people kind of looking around, having a little bit of a snack, it seems, but they didn't really seem to notice anything other than you guys just kind of arguing with each other.
Well, Hobo, explain why you don't trust Tuchable. I trust you.
Hobo goes a little bit pale for a second, and he says, so, listen, I know I used to be into the party lifestyle, if you know what I mean, and, like, did some things that might have, like, cranked a few things at a place, but...
A few?
I know that there's something wrong going on here. And yeah, a few. Bro, listen, like, don't harsh my mellow, okay? LA. Listen. I used to read about, like, I love paranormal shit. I love, like, creepy stories and pasta. I love pasta. I don't know why I thought about that, but anyhow.
Creepy pasta.
Gross.
So now, like, have you guys ever thought that there might be something that just is always around that you just, like, never see? You know when you take your fingers and you, like, stare at one, you move the other one over until you find that, like, blind spot?
As Hobo's explaining this, Tim's gonna disappear.
Just Tim,
Tim!
that's my blind spot, bro. Like, what the hell?
Bjorn's gonna be like, it's fine. He always walks in my blind spot.
Not my blind spot.
On my leg. He just goes, well, okay, I don't know if he's still, like, he starts waving
Just
his arms
talk
around.
as if he is here,
All right,
but
well,
do not attempt to find him.
Yeah, correct. Okay, so, yeah, anyways, you know the blind spot thing. Have you ever tried that? He, like,
Yes.
shows you. Okay, so you know how your finger, like, disappears sometimes, or, like, when you do this and it, like, hovers in front of you? What about that space that nothing is visible? Do you think that there might be something that might be able to move there and live there?
The spirit world,
No,
essentially.
not really, but more like that spot where your eye just doesn't see.
I think we can agree.
Okay. Anyways, I know, like I said, my head's been knocked around a few times and stuff, but I'm pretty functional, and I've been getting a weird feeling in my blind spot lately. That's all. Like,
okay. That's a phrase
Yeah.
you just said.
anyways,
Is there any particular spot that triggers this thought in your mind that it's especially blind there?
so far, when I go to, like, it's just in the middle of the night sometimes, and I think it's just maybe the creepy feeling of sneaking out for a midnight snack, but I dip into the galley sometimes, and I, like, you know, raid the refrigerator for some snacks and stuff, but, you know, like the boogeyman in the stairs, I just feel like I need to run out of there for some reason. So I do.
Specifically the refrigerator?
Yeah, like right near it. And I tried to talk to the lieutenant about it and be like, hey, bro, like, there might be something going on in the galley. Maybe talk to the cooks. Maybe they're poisoning shit. I don't know. You know I know about the plot and stuff, so who knows? And he got really pissed at me and just, like, I don't know, he just freaked out, seeming like he was all confused about some shit. He grabbed me and threw me back and asked me what the hell was going on. I said, I don't know, bro.
And that's when I walked in.
Yeah, basically.
Tim went to go stalk the captain and to Charlie, by the way.
Okay.
I'm going to drag Hobo to the kitchen.
All right.
You're going to tell me exactly where you felt this.
All right.
Like, grab his shirt and as I'm walking.
All right. We'll finish this part up. So you guys go down to the galley before I cut over to Tim. You guys go down to the galley, and you find the spot, and he just walks up to the fridge. He stops for a second. He says, bro, like, this is, even now, there's a few cooks in there that you can tell. And
my clipboard, and I'm waving it. Like, I'm supposed
and they
to
all
be here.
look, and one of them says, hi, Hobo. And he turns and he goes, oh, hey, Donna. Like, what's going on? Like, Dudette, like, are you good? Like, what's up? Well, yeah, I'm good. And Hobo seems to have a split second where he goes, hey, Donna, where's... Never mind. Oh, I must have been thinking of someone... Other ship. Sorry. Anyway. And he kind of, like, looks at you again and he says, listen, I don't like this, but I'll do it. But this fridge here, I don't know, like, it has the salami.
I will walk up to the fridge and I will open it.
All right. You open the fridge.
And then I will try to feel what he is feeling.
And you start to feel it. You start to feel this nagging in your brain and your blind spot as you look in this fridge. And everything seems to be in place.
Can I move the fridge?
Give me a strength check.
$17.
Okay. You slide this
13 plus
fridge
4.
out, and as you do so, looking where it was standing, you suddenly see at the very bottom of the inside of the fridge and the floor underneath where it was, there is a gaping hole through the floor into the cold storage.
Donna the cook.
Yeah, what's up?
Have you guys been feeling anything that is off while being in this room?
Well, I mean, I don't know, they work us to the core. I'm just always tired.
I meant something that is out of the ordinary.
We're almost out of rye bread.
Thank you. This is bad. Not the rye bread. The hole in the floor.
All right. So we'll cut over to Tim right now.
Oh, one more thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Before you cut. Can I look in the ball and see if Bevington gave us walkie-talkies yet?
Ah, okay. Good timing.
Good idea.
You you open up your duffel bag of holding, and or messenger bag of holding, if you will, and you pull out the ball, and you pop it open, and you see a slightly different version of the coin that you all have. It's a little smaller. It still has the same insignia on it, and it's a little more, I guess, coppery in color, if you will. And there's 5 of them sitting there in the ball, and a little note from Bevington and says, Alistair has come through for once, I suppose.
Well, I'm gonna take them out. I'm gonna be like, look around and be like, I have not seen anyone but Tim. Oops.
I I just wanted to remind you.
Yes.
Vera is looking for people.
You should be in the kitchen.
You're looking. Yes. Good timing, Vera. You happen to walk in.
Oh, I'm in the kitchen.
You happen to walk into the dining area as Bjorn leaves the galley, and you end up meeting up with each other. And Sam is close behind you, and he sees some tables as you guys walk into the dining area, and he notices, oh my god, there's patrons here. And he rushes over to the tables with, Mimosa? 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 Sam!
Vera's just like...
and he seems to be back hard at work. All right.
Sweet. Good.
So
Got rid
Vera
of
would have
that.
come in after I moved the fridge.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then pulled it out, and I would have been like, I don't see anyone here.
Yes.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like,
right.
as
Yeah.
if I
so-
was, as if Vera was summoned. I'd be like, that is weird.
It's
All
so
right.
weird. Vera's a little distraught, so she, comes in.
Vera, I found a
hastily.
hole in the floor, and I have a walkie-talkie for you.
A what? Bjorn, we have to find Tim and
I
go
already spoke with him
downstairs.
just a minute ago.
Where did he go?
Where does a
No.
Tim go?
I don't know.
Does
He
Tim go?
disappeared whenever Hobo was talking about the third eye or something. But do you want to look at this hole in the ground? Because it makes people feel weird.
Oh.
He's like
Yes.
pointing, like, this floor is
Look at-
weird.
I look at the hole in the ground, I guess.
And you recognize the feeling as something that you
Yeah.
have felt before. But it's
But
very
wait,
it's
is-
faint.
Is it like a hole I can see?
It is a
through?
hole that you can see through, burrowed right through into the cold storage.
Oh, into cold storage. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's
it
not go
almost-
there.
It almost looks jagged around the edges, and you do get a very faint feeling of the same, I guess, confusion that you had before, but not quite as strong. It's almost as if your confusion is further below somewhere.
Okay. Well, shoot. Vera's like, this is, we need to go back downstairs. There is
There is a
something.
hole, so I'm going to jump through the hole.
It's not quite
Wait,
big
no.
enough for you, Bjorn. It's about the size of your leg.
I'm going to make this hole bigger
Oh shit!
and go down this hole.
Wait, how?
I don't know.
Just smash.
With a hammer, obviously.
It's Bjorn. He doesn't want to walk. It's right there. Just gonna make it bigger.
It's not the first time Bjorn's fallen through a floor.
That is true.
All right.
Well, I will.
Or attempted
gonna
to
get-
jump
Before-
down.
I'm
before
gonna give
Bjorn-
Vera
hiding you
the
up.
coins. I'm gonna shove them in her hand and be like, "Here, give these to the others when you find them. I'm going downstairs."
Okay.
Wait, Bjorn, it's. We should go find the others first, please.
As you guys are arguing,
so-
Hobo reaches behind you
distraught.
guys into the fridge and grabs a stick of salami and just like.
And then seeing her so distraught,
I
and then
left
he
the
moves the
others.
fridge back, and then he says, "Cooked on
They
it.
could
Do
be
not
in
let
trouble."
anyone near the fridge."
Aye. Clipboard man.
Yeah, the others could be in trouble, so we should hurry back to where I came from. And then she'll
Leave
kind of
me there.
yeah. So
I'm gonna drag
Vera
Hobo
will
with us.
lead back.
Hobo's
Uh-oh.
coming with us. By the way.
All right. So
All
are you
right.
guys going downstairs then? I take it.
Yeah, I
All right.
don't think Vera. Like, if we see, like, I'll yell for Tim. Well,
Yeah. Luckily enough, in the
Yeah.
galley itself, there are stairs down into cold storage. If you guys look at the extra map that Captain Exo had given you guys.
Hmm.
So luckily enough, there
are
are
we
stairs
going
that go down in there.
cold storage. I wanted to go back to where I left Tarvok and
That
Arthur.
is right next to cold storage, basically.
Oh, it's right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I got that.
Okay, so you guys.
I guess I'll like on a couple of walls.
Mm-hmm.
I put the maintenance department symbol with prestidigitation.
Okay.
And an arrow.
Okay. Just to remind yourself of the spot.
I can do that. Well, no, I'm doing that. Hopefully, maybe Tim sees it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like I don't like. It's like we need something, but I don't know where.
Okay.
He is. Like, well, I'll yell.
Okay.
But we don't have time to go look for him. Is what Vera thinks.
Okay. That's good enough. Yeah, I think you can convey that through a couple of symbols on the wall. We will now cut over to Tim then. As you guys are going downstairs to rejoin Arthur and Tarvok, we find Tim following behind Captain Exo as they are coming up on the guard's quarters, or the guard room, I should say. And Tim, you're invisible, correct?
Correct.
Okay. You roll me a stealth check, please, to maintain, I guess it's not going to take much to maintain stealthy behind him, please.
Stealthy behind him.
Tim rolled a 1. All right, Tim. So you start following along, and you seem to lose attention or something as you're walking down the hallway. You're almost at the guards court, or the guards room there at the end of the passenger area, and your foot catches on one of the carts, and it topples over and clatters a bunch of dishes and cups to the ground. Captain Exo stops in his tracks, turns around. He doesn't see you, but he just goes, "You might as well follow me. Just let me see you, please."
Fine.
At least he accepts it.
All right. So you pop back into existence, and you guys walk into the guard station together. And before you walk through the doors, Captain Exo says, "Please, just keep your mouth shut as much as you can."
You have my word.
And he walks in there, and the two guards on the other side of the door snap to attention as he walks through, and at ease. And he walks directly up to Lieutenant Tuchable's desk, where Tuchable is just kind of sitting there with his face in his one hand, just rubbing his forehead and like frustrated as hell, as you can tell. And the captain says, "Now, Jesus, what was all that about?" And Jesus says, "Captain, I don't trust this fella. What the hell are you doing? And who was it? Hobo that brought you here?" And he points directly to Tim. And the captain looks over at Tim and says, I suppose
Tim keeps his mouth shut.
I suppose don't keep your mouth shut. Just answer the man."
But you said.
"It's fine."
Maybe.
And Jesus goes, "Maybe what? You're so cryptic. I don't like it. I don't trust you guys.
You don't have to trust me. I breached your security.
Yes, I understand. And I believe that the captain has rectified the situation. And I hope that you please would not mess with my men anymore. We are trying to do our job, and I do not trust that hippie who calls himself an entertainer any more than I can throw him. He smells of stinkweed."
I won't deny that.
"So listen, you need to tell me everything he has told you, because it's the only way we can keep the royal family safe."
I could think of a safer way.
And what is this?
Bring urine.
I suppose we could try that. And you can see him.
There is no try. Do or do not.
Fuck's sakes!
Good job, Tim. I approve so hard.
I'm so sad your lightsaber wasn't on in the background for that. All right. You see Tuchable just kind of get a bright idea across his face, and he goes, "Yes, I suppose it's worth a shot. I need to talk to my men and come up with a new plan on, I guess, posting if we're gonna have extra people around the royal quarters. Just
No. Personal to the royal guard. Bjorn has a very protective instinct.
yes, no, this is fine. This is fine. But I need to still talk to my men and have them rearrange where they are on the ship, I suppose. So, I appreciate you coming to me. Just be careful what you tell the MC, or however he likes it pronounced. MC, I don't know. Anyway,
Actually, I think Bjorn would like to guard the princess personally.
I will allow it, yes. I mean, the captain already is going for it, so I can't really argue. Tell the large oaf to just be there. I'll make sure that the royal family knows that he is there to help. Thank you.
Okay,
Now, just I need to think of a plan. Thank you.
I'll let Bjorn reveal anything about Mr. Hobo that he desires.
Yes,
It's not my place.
good enough. And Captain, before you leave, why the hell am I missing 5 guards from the allotment that you told me? I don't appreciate you shorthanding me on this trip. That's all I will say. And the captain goes, I promise it wasn't from lack of trying. I must have made a mistake in the numbers. I apologize. And he ushers you out of the guard room.
So I'm assuming Bjorn is, or Tim and the captain are gonna kind of, or at least Tim's gonna try and mosey back to find everyone.
Yeah, the captain and you part ways. The captain says, I will go talk to the royal family. They typically take things best from me. I will tell them of your friend, and just please don't piss them off anymore.
I'll give the big guy the good news.
Good. All right. So, you make your way back. You meet up with Bjorn, and you meet up with Vera as they're about to head down in the galley.
I hand Tim a coin. Hello? This is your walkie-talkie. I'm glad to see you.
Okay. Vera, what were you about to say? Sorry.
Oh, nothing. I just thought we had left already. That's all.
Yeah. Just timing reasons. You
Maybe-
guys have all kind
Maybe
of found
we
each other.
searched for like a minute. Bjorn was like, maybe he's still in the gallery somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll retcon.
that's fine.
Arthur and Tarvok, you guys are downstairs with
You
Dimitri,
said the thing.
and you, as the rest of the gang comes out of cold storage and makes their way around to the engines, you all meet up together, and I believe Bjorn has something to give you.
Tarvok, you said that we should have gotten things to talk with. I have provided the thing, and I give him a coin. What happened?
We don't really know, if I'm being honest with you. I think I might have punctured one of the tanks with an arrow, but there wasn't an arrow in the tank, and Arthur's just still really drunk. It's actually a lot of fun
Arthur's
for me.
drunk?
Oh, you've been gone all day, haven't you? No, he pounded back like a gallon of mimosas all by himself.
Bjorn's like looking at Arthur, like looking at the
So much
places that
mimosas.
Tarvok is pointing at. Like, okay.
Can I retcon something really quick, please?
Sure.
When you brought Sam back into the dining hall and he went to serve the random tables that were there, you notice
Oh my
all of them
God.
sip the mimosa that he pours for them and just spew it all over the place because it seems to taste absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. That was a retcon for the night. Okay.
That was
Thank
an
you.
unimportant retcon, but
Very
still
unimportant,
the
I'm
best
sorry.
retcon ever.
All right, go ahead, guys.
So, yeah, I don't I wish I could give you a better understanding as to what's going on, but
I think you did.
I don't
fine.
know.
There
Arthur.
seems to be unexplainable weird things going on, like a fridge. Can I I'm gonna like drop the coin on Arthur's head, and I'm going to look for the hole that is with the fridge, like that has the fridge on top of it.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, you go back into cold storage, and you look up in the corner from where the fridge was, and you see the hole. You see the bottom of the fridge and like a little bit of its insides and a bit of salami kind of hanging down. And and you look over from it kind of towards the direction of where that tank would be. And then you notice the hole also in the corner of that room. And as you kind of try to get closer to look at it, you trip over what feels like your own feet for a second.
I'm going to
You
write down
stumble a little bit.
2 holes on the roof. Yella tu chable for the holes in the roof. Security is lacking in the kitchen.
All right.
And
You
then
look.
I'm gonna look down at my feet and see what the fuck I'm Bjorn. I do not stumble.
And it looks to be that there's like some of the like potato sacks or whatever just kind of shoved in the corner a little bit, and you just kind of chalk it up to that. Like you must have just tripped over some potatoes.
I don't chalk it up to just potatoes. Not with a weird fridge.
All right.
I'm gonna kick those potatoes.
Okay.
Really hard.
Go ahead and kick it really hard.
Are there literal potatoes? I got really
There's
confused.
potato sacks on the ground. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought I misheard.
Bjorn rolls a honey, turns potatoes into mashed.
Adds garlic
Can I
somehow.
Can I investigate
butter.
before I kick the potatoes?
You already said you're gonna kick the potatoes.
Okay.
You can investigate
kick-
after now at this
Just
point.
kick the fucking
Big
potato.
burly man.
Alright, 16 plus 4.
All right. Your foot, as you draw back in a big like football kicker's kick.
Punter?
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for the word. I'm not American. I don't watch a whole lot of football.
Football kicker.
Yeah, there we go. The guy that kicks the thing and throws the thing. Anyways,
The guy who kicks the hand egg.
yeah, that's the one. And you swing forward with all your might, and the potatoes don't seem to move much when you kick, and it looks like where your foot lands, and it feels like where your foot lands just kind of like gushes into thin air for a second. And,
I'm going to keep it there.
and you can't seem
And I'm
to.
going to write it down.
Okay, you can't seem
My
to
foot
reach the
is
potatoes.
Not right now.
Yeah,
Scream at tu chable later.
you're pushing against this spot on the ground and in before the potatoes, and you can't seem like in a dream, like when you try and punch someone in a dream and you can't quite reach them. It's that feeling.
Can I fight
You can't
through it?
quite kick the potatoes. You're trying, and you see
gonna-
your foot getting closer and closer and closer, and then at a certain point you just can't push anymore.
Wow. Not going.
Can't
Try
wait.
there.
Do
And
I
some
see
strong
Bjorn
potatoes.
doing this? I mean, he's just standing there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you see it.
He'd be right next to me, probably.
I mean, it seems like some kind of magic. So, I'm gonna cast Dispel Magic in that area. I will. Yeah,
Before you waste a spell slot, because I'm
Okay.
gonna say waste a spell slot.
I mean,
you do
no,
recall-
I want to cast Dispel Magic in that.
I
in
know,
that
I'm-
area.
I know.
Don't tell him not to do it. Just do it and say nothing happened.
Okay.
That's how it goes.
All right. So you
'Cause-
cast.
Because that's information. Like,
It is.
I
It is.
know.
It is. All right. You cast Dispel Magic on the area, and
Well, on the potatoes. I
on the
guess.
potato area and around Bjorn's foot, and you just kind of see the aura of your spell just kind of dissipate, and that's it.
Vera, get flour and throw it where my foot is at.
In the middle of Bjorn saying that, Tim just grabs a sack of flour and hucks it at Bjorn.
Can it hit me and explode on my my
Oh
head
no,
or my
that was the
shoulder?
idea.
Give
Tim was
me
aiming
a
for you.
strength check then, Tim.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
please! I want it to explode. Sarah, get flour.
Whoop.
Please don't, Sarah. She's gonna
All right. Tim, so you toss the flour, like you're trying to have this big burly moment, and you're like, when Bjorn asks for the flour, you just go, what would you say as like a quip before you give it to him?
Catch!
So you do your catch, and you grab the top of the bag, and you act like as if you're gonna just send it sailing, and you just like, and like pull it forwards and hand it to Bjorn. Your small
I'm gonna
half
say-
elven frame.
I caught it. Like, just
Got it off of the ground.
Nice throw, Tim.
Wonderful.
basically just, I don't want to make him feel bad, but there we go.
All
and then
right.
I'm going to
I know what you did, and I don't like it.
chuck it.
Okay.
I'm gonna put a hole in it so that way, like, I can chuck it and it'll go
All right.
the cloud of flour.
All right. So you
Stopping my foot.
you launch this sack of flour up into the air.
In the air. My foot is in the air, and I pick up this thing, and I'm like,
All right. And as the flour starts to settle and rest on whatever the hell your foot is resting on, you start to see a shape.
I'm uncomfortable.
Much like the dirt, and now all of you are kind of like peeking. You are all peeking into this cold storage, and you see Arthur. It reminds you of the dirt that was just kind of hovering off the ground, and the dirt that was on the tank in the shape of an arrow. The flour seems to just be suspended over whatever is on your foot. It's all over your legs, Bjorn, and some's even down your chainmail, and it's going to take a while to clean that out. And this flour settles heavily on whatever the hell might have caused this hole, and you see a jagged end where it seems to have been just shredded apart by spikes or arrows or something, and you see this long hose-like shape kind of get a little more slender as it coils around on top of these sacks of potatoes, and then at the very end you see a very large, almost humanoid looking head with
I'm throwing my hammer at
massive teeth wide open and the jaw hanging slack,
Okay.
filled with flour. This is, mind you, this is all just flour in the shape of a human head, no hair from what you can tell, and its jaw just wide open, like this big around, like at least 6 inches around, and massive teeth on the inside with a tongue just lolling out of its mouth. And whatever it is not moving.
I'm going to scream.
No, you're not. We gotta go.
Security!
So Bjorn screams, "Security!" And that is where we're going to leave it for tonight. That was a nice longer session. I hope you guys enjoyed the longer session that we were doing. We're going to find out what the
Yay.
fuck is this thing.
That's what we're gonna do next week too, right?
Yeah, I hope so. We're probably going to start earlier next week as well, so if you guys like even more D&D every night or every Tuesday night, then be here next
Who
Tuesday.
doesn't like more D&D?
Who
He's got a point.
Yes. And we hope you guys enjoyed some of these little things coming together tonight, and I am excited to see where this goes. There's a couple of awesome things going on. So, all right. Anything you guys want to say before we dip on out of here?
Thanks for swinging by.
Yeah, it's been a blast.
Again, if any of the new people are still lying around and we've got a ton of stuff that you can go back and watch.
Thank you for
go back
reminding
and
me. Can I just...
yeah,
Yeah.
you take it over.
I really want to quickly, again, I want to thank so much Never Split the Party for that raid tonight. You raided us with 9. That was amazing. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Awesomeness Dude, Big Z. Who else do we have in here? 3 days ago we had the Stampede follow us. Steviathan, that's an awesome name, by the way, and Mr. Average Jack, thank you guys so much for the follows. It really warms the inner cockles of our hearts, and that's one of my favorite phrases. Paul, take it away again. I apologize.
But yeah, no, I mean, go back, watch some of the stuff that we've done previously. I'm sure that everybody who streams, which is everybody but me, has some old videos you can watch, I think. I don't know. Yeah, if you want to see me drunk, go to the Ret-Con-Artists channel. Ken and I drink every 2 weeks, and we get really, really stupid. Last weekend was Borderlands, so we also
drink
had...
in between the 2 weeks.
True. Last weekend we had Alex and Max with us as well for some Borderlands, and that was a ton of fun. Yeah, that's really...
It took us 3 hours to get to Sanctuary.
We were so drunk. Awesome.
Oh, we actually accomplished something?
No, we didn't.
No.
I don't remember that. So
Yeah. All right. And Max, are you going to be streaming tonight after we're done here?
yeah, so I'm gonna be going crazy with the Escape from Tarkov.
Yeah,
Wipe.
we'll be there.
That happened. So
All right.
yeah, so a grouping of us here will be
party
live.
in Tarkov.
Run around getting shot in the face by scavs. So that'll be a good time.
The
So-
boys are back.
We're
in
gonna
Tarkov.
listen to industrial music and drink vodka.
No, listen to what...
I'm Duncan.
Ruthie, what is it? Russian... No, no, the music you showed me, you turd.
Oh, Russian folk music.
Yeah, the Russian folk metal. Go check that out too. Anyways, but yeah, no, hop in the Discord if you want to know when we're streaming. You can always check it out in the Discord. We love you guys. Thank you so much again. Have a wonderful, wonderful night, and take care.
Bye.
Good night.
See you Saturday.
Thanks again for joining us for this week's episode. We can't wait to see you all next Tuesday. Take care.